fantastic. Recently, what's happening in my country, that's for sure, because we had can't remember if the terrorist attack that happened in Bondi, which is obviously truly horrific and awful, happened before or after the last episode of the Remnant that we did last year. I actually can't recall. I think it might have been. After, because I don't think I was. I think I was on holidays at that point when it happened. So, but yeah, so there's been a lot that's gone on in my country, that's for sure, because there's been a whole lot of political implications for that, as far as new hate speech laws, new gun laws, all the stuff that Australia loves to do whenever something like this happens. I'm going to start letting people up to the speaker panel. Again, bearing in mind, guys, that we're not starting the podcast proper yet. Oh, Zulu has put his hand up, so maybe we are starting the podcast.
Yes, I was able to get it done. I forgot which login I used for the restream, but it was just well, I'm not actually going to say which login it is because I don't want to.
Probably a wise decision.
Yeah. But yeah, so everybody, welcome back. Unfortunately, there were almost 10 minutes worth of technical difficulties there. That's what happens when you don't stream for a month. You forget how to do it. But we are back. We are back, and some might say better than ever. The week have been purged thanks to that Bondi. I shouldn't say that. But yeah, well, we are back. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here. But yeah, let's get going with the Remnant episode 3.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, obviously, always super exciting. I mean, I've kind of just been chatting to people. For those of people that are on YouTube, I've just been kind of chatting away in the space, not doing anything too substantial. So I do want to ask Lily, how was your Christmas and New Year period? Did you get up to much? Did you spend time with family? How's things been?
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. And actually, over New Year's, I think New Year's Day, I was down in Glasgow. I was in a Spoons, and I was recognised for the first time, like au natural, outside of like libertarian events. That was pretty cool.
Wow, that's very cool. How was that interaction?
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, I was very hungover. Obviously, because it was New. Yeah, it definitely was New Year's Day actually, because I remember being that hungover. But yeah, no, we were drinking the whole night, and then this guy came up to me. He was, I think he was there with his girlfriend or something. And he was like, "Hey, is this you?" He showed me his phone. I was like, "Yeah, that's me." So that was pretty cool. So shout out to that guy. I didn't catch his name or anything.
Yeah, no, that's really, really cool. Yeah, that's actually pretty awesome. It goes to show how far we're progressing. I suppose that I mean, can be slightly scary. I suppose the idea that now suddenly people are going to be able to like just out in public do know who you are.
I'll have to be less rowdy, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to sully the name of anarcho-capitalism and objectivism by being too drunk in public. But no, yeah, I mean, look, I was also extremely hungover on New Year's, so I can't throw any stones from glass houses. But yeah, so look, I suppose I just wanted to jump into things. As far as I know, Marn's got his hand up, but I did want to ask just quickly, because I did say, obviously things have quietened down over the New Year period, which makes sense because people are busy doing other things with their lives as they should be over that time. But have you got any? I know you were talking late last year about how you plan to set up like a lot of debates, and you obviously had some new ideas for video content. Can you give us like a kind of idea of what the plan looks like as far as how you're going to start, getting back into things in the new year at all?
Yeah, so I'm going to do a video on Pluribus. I'm going to try and get that out as soon as possible. Strike while the iron's hot. If you haven't seen it, Pluribus is this show where basically this not to give too much away, it's the new Vince Gilligan show. He's the guy who did Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. 10 out of 10 show. Brilliant show. Basically this this alien virus infects humanity and turns everybody but 12 people into a hive mind. And a lot of commies on Twitter have been trying to claim it quite ridiculously, because it's a very capitalist show, and there's a character in there who's very much Like he doesn't steal the penny to save humanity. So I think it would be a very interesting video to do. But before we get into the hands or anything, I do have a couple of super chats to get through. So there's $2 from Philosophus One. Thank you very much. Will your book include your contrario? Yes, almost certainly. That's one of the big, additions required for the course. And then from the same guy for $5. Thank you very much. Have you read the Liberty Shrugged book? I have not.
Awesome. Well, with that, we'll start jumping into the hands. So I'll go to Man first. Man, always a pleasure to be with you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So, first of all, I've got to start with a complaint. How does a Brit and an Australian have a show and somehow it ends up at 4 a.m. in India? Like, I'm literally the average time zone for you guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I think it's because he's on the other side of the nighttime, so it's morning for him, and that was like the best time we could get. Like I kept trying to negotiate him down, but this is like early morning for Monhop.
Yeah, dude, I was out till like 1 o'clock this morning, like out drinking last night, and then I got to like 12:30 before I left, and I was like, "Oh shit, I don't have a podcast to start in like 8 hours," so, so I had to get home, and I mean, I didn't drink too much, so I'm not really that hungover, but it was like a kind of oh shit moment at like 12:30 when I was at a bar, being like, "Oh yeah, I've got like 7.5 hours before I need to be up again to do this podcast," but anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would like to, first of all, I'm very grateful for, like the way our movement is going. And to, Zulu's credit, here in India, I have met multiple people, mostly in libertarian circles, granted, but multiple people who have who are either very influenced by Zulu or like full on, anarcho-objectivist Zuluites. So, it's a global movement and it's only growing. And literally everybody who becomes part of this movement grows it further, right? And so, yes, the suspicion is confirmed. We're going to the moon. Liquid Zulu is going to be the world Soviet leader one day. So there's no question about that. And another thing would be basically I'll be here for a while. I guess I'll be here for 1 to 2 hours. I'll be interacting. I'll be if Zulu allows, I'll take the parts in which I am interacting and make a video of my own, in collaboration. And I'll try to be here for the Remnant as much as I can. And let's get started. I'm really excited and really excited to talk to everyone. So thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you.
Man, you're gonna have to get my permission before you use my intellectual property for a video on YouTube. So just bear that in mind, please.
My Lord,
Before you
Monhop.
publish anything, check with me. Otherwise, you'll be hearing from my lawyers.
Please, my Lord Monhop. Please allow it.
I do have one super chat here from Steve Hart, but yeah, absolutely, you can use this podcast for whatever you want, make clips or whatever. Go ahead. And that goes for everybody. Just go ahead. I don't care. And then Steve Harp 1867 for £5. Thank you very much. That's very kind. If the white race only had 1 year left, good start. If the white race only had 1 year left, what would you do? Violating the NEP doesn't do anything, and has nothing to do with this hypothetical. I don't know. I suppose I'd just carry on as usual. This doesn't concern me particularly much. If the white year only has 1 year left, well, that's just kind of baked into the hypothetical there. So even if I really wanted to preserve the white race, well, shit, I can't, because you've baked that into the hypothetical. So there's nothing to be done, even if there should be something done. So I would just do the same things as I'm doing. But thank you for the £5.
Awesome. Well, we'll go to You Can Always Change Your Mind. Thanks as always, brother, for coming on. And please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I was wondering what upcoming debates are planned, if any. Are you planning to debate G on guardianship or anything else? Because I've heard he has some disagreements, and I think he needs to debate. I don't know.
So for that one in particular, I suggested that he debate Nye, because Nye's the one who came up with the theory, and it seems like that didn't go anywhere. So I don't know if he wants to have a debate on that. I think that would be the one to do, because I know that Nye debated you on that theory of guardianship. And
Yeah.
so for debates, I'm looking at my thing here, my notes. Unfortunately, I was sick as a dog early into the new year. All that going out on New Year's, it turns out, it fucks you up a little bit. Gives you all kinds of flu viruses and whatnot. But I'm planning to send debate invites to Friedman, David Friedman, that is. Divinity.
Cool.
Vegan guy, I can't remember his name. He's the guy who came up with Name the Trait. Unfortunately,
That guy.
I just cannot remember his name at the moment. Yeah. I want to get David Beto on my show because he was looking interested. Similar type of thing to Sheldon Richman. You know, just like an interview, just kind of chatting the shit, that type of thing. And then I James Elias Inductica. He has a good idea for a show I could do with him, and also with Mon Sharma. I believe he was also invited to that. And I also want to do a response stream to Arthur Greenwood's video on me, because Arthur Greenwood did a video shitting all over me, so I want to respond to that. And that's what I've got on the old docket.
Huh. I definitely have to check that out. Arthur Greenwood. Is that a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay.
And also Nuclear
that's
Mayhem.
A lot of planned debates.
Yeah, that's it piles up when you take a month off, I suppose. Yeah.
Sure.
Also, Nuclear Mayhem 9238. Thank you very much for the 20 NOK. I will never understand what the currency means, but thank you very much. I think it's Norwegian kroner or something.
Yeah, I think we got that when we did a stream one night on YouTube only, that it was Norwegian currency. Just quickly,
It's not Korean.
I'm very, very glad that you have said on stream and on the space that you'll debate Divinity. Not that you had ever said that you weren't going to debate him, but because hopefully the objectivists will leave me alone, because they keep asking me, when is Zulu going to debate Divinity? When is Zulu going to debate Divinity? And I can't understand where Dave Smith was coming from now, because it is quite annoying when people are just like, when is Zulu going to debate this guy? When? Do it now, do it now. So it's coming. All right, I promise. Zulu and Divinity will do a debate. So that's awesome.
I
That's
will
fantastic.
say he had not that this is his fault, but he had very bad timing with with his initial debate proposal, because I had just finished a video where I had done the argument in depth and then did a follow-up debate on it. So I was burnt out on the argument. And also, I had learned that a dear friend of mine had passed away. So he picked quite a time for it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, I think it was fair. I mean, clearly fair. I wasn't aware of the death of your friend. That's obviously very, very sad. But like, there was a lot of stuff going on around that time period. I know where it was kind of really amping up. But I'm glad that it's going to go ahead, because I think like the paper that he wrote like a while back was quite interesting. Had an interesting take that I've been trying to pass out and try and find how I would refute it. So I'm curious to see how you'll go about it in the debate. Anyway, I want to go to Eli and then to Harrow, and then we'll get back to Man, unless Julia has any super chats or anything else he needs to read out. All right, we'll go to Eli first. Eli, welcome to the space. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. I mean, I discovered you, Zulu, like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and you've completely changed my mind on a lot of things. So I wanted to say thank you first of all. And question about debates. Are you interested in like debating any like more like philosophical people like Alex O'Connor, things like that, like somebody who really is in depth in the philosophy and trying to make the argument for objectivism and ANCAP in general, the entire thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I would very much, Alex Connor in particular, I would very much like to speak with him. Obviously, he's kind of been sailing off into the clouds. I don't know what it'll take to get a discussion with him. He's talking to big people these days. But I would very much like to talk to him because I think him in particular, he's not like a slime ball. A lot of people in his sort of region of philosophy, like the nominalists, the emotivists, a lot of them become just fucking slime balls. And you talk to them and you just feel icky talking to them. Because they just, it's just the way that they debate. It's like, oh, well, what about this fucking thing? Oh, what, you can tell that they're not actually trying to forward something which is true. They're just like the classical skeptics. Obviously his name used to be Cosmic Skeptic. They're just like the classical skeptics, where they're just trying to fucking ruin philosophy, destroy all knowledge. And I can barely stand those people. But Alex Connor, he seems like, a person who actually cares about, like, okay, well, what do you believe? And he'll go through and he will understand what someone's believing. Like, look at his, the debate he hosted between Jordan Peterson and, the guy who did the selfish gene, Richard Dawkins. Look at that debate. Like, you can tell that Alex Connor, even though he doesn't agree with Jordan Peterson, he is like trying to parse out what Peterson is saying, and that's a hard thing to do with Peterson, especially these days. But like he very much tries to actually understand what you're saying first. He doesn't just try and tear down. I very much respect that.
Yeah, on Alex, I couldn't agree more. I've found him. I know he did like this debate or discussion thing with Peter Hitchens. Obviously Christopher Hitchens' brother, who's very, very different philosophically and as far as what he believes than Christopher. And Peter basically cracked the shits and stormed off from the debate, or the discussion or the interview, whatever you want to call it, after I don't
Like,
know
he
how
asked too
long,
much
but
about drugs,
they
I
can talk.
guess.
Yeah. And I was just like, I think you always come off looking bad when you storm out of a debate, no matter how bad faith someone is being. If they're being extremely bad faith, I'll understand why you did it, and I won't be like, oh, that was completely unjustified. But I still think if you come into a debate, you should just try and tough it out and get through it. I think that's more honourable and will put you in better stead than storming off, even if you feel like it's completely justified. But in that case, it was like, okay, this is just completely ridiculous. Like Alex, as much as Zulu and I would completely disagree with him as far as his normative positions, the guy is very clearly a good faith arguer who is trying to understand other people's worldviews. I mean, for fuck's sake, the guy's been an atheist his whole life, and I'm pretty sure he has a degree in theology. He went through and studied for multiple years to get a degree in theology. I don't know the exact field that he was studying, but someone that's willing to put years worth of work into studying beliefs that they don't have any semblance of agreement with is clearly not someone who is trying to be bad faith or dishonest about how they're going about things. So, no, I couldn't agree more. I think Zulu and Alex O'Connor would be awesome. Obviously, be quite difficult potentially because, as you said, he's got quite a big audience these days, and as you said, he's talking to and having discussions with some pretty large content creators. As obviously Jordan Peterson being one. I think he's done stuff with Destiny and a few other really, really big streamers. So, but if we could make it happen, that'd be pretty awesome. Too easy. All right. Well, I do want to go to, unless Zulu has any super chats or anything. I want to go to Man again. So Man, please jump in again, brother. Go ahead.
All right. So uh, I would say you put Harrow ahead of me. So let's
Oh
ask
yes,
you three
sorry.
questions with the switch up.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, Harrow, you didn't have your hand
Oh,
didn't
okay.
drop
He's
down.
okay. He's
So,
okay. All right.
cool.
Okay. He's okay. He's okay. So,
No, he's come up
uh,
real quick. Harrow, did you want to go ahead? Oh, he's come off mic, so I'll let him go ahead quickly. Harrow,
Yeah, I
did you
just
want
had
to jump in?
a quick question. It's a little late where I am, so I'm appreciate that I was able to join the stream early so I can ask and then listen to the rest of it after I go to bed. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for what you all are doing. It's been great to listen, and especially these Remnant podcasts. I like to give a disclaimer. I had a question about the show Pluribus, and I don't want to give any spoilers to anyone who wants to listen to it after being recommended to the show by Liquid Zulu. My question was the scene when Usos was taken from the jungle to the hospital. I was thinking about that, and would a man who's found unconscious and taken to a hospital, if he wakes up and immediately wants to leave as he did, is he liable for any payments or any expenditures that the hospital made? And do you think that changes based on the fact that this hive virus is not using their own resources and they're acting with other people's?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So I think from Manusos's perspective, it doesn't change at all. He was just taken there. He was effectively stolen the same way that the hive stole everybody's bodies. So Manusos isn't liable for that. But like I do like the character moment that he, even still he's like, fucking print me out a bill then. Print me a bill and I'll pay it when everything's okay. That's a very good character moment. I loved that very much. But I would say that Manusos would not be liable for any of that. But it's just, it's just another thing of, no, fuck you, I'm rejecting you, and you don't have anything. Everything you have is stolen. I'm not going to have it. I'm not going to lie with you at all. So I do see where he's coming from there. But yeah, no, he would not be liable for that payment.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm gonna see y'all later. I'm gonna have to listen to this in the morning. It's late here. Bye bye.
So yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for that, Harrow.
I do have
Zula,
a
did you want to jump in real quick?
I do have a $50 super chat, that's a lot of fucking money. Thank you very much to Brinkwill. My aunt gave me Christmas money on the stipulation that I donate a bit of it to put a smile on someone's face. I've been waiting for you to stream. I'm choosing to make a Scottish anarchist smile. Well, thank you for your work. That's very nice. Thank you very much. That is very lovely. And thank you to your aunt as well. That's very nice.
That is really, really cool. Man, did you want to go ahead?
yeah. So I have one suggestion which we can use to, get Alex O'Connor to debate Zulu. We could make like a 3-hour video about him, destroying his entire worldview. I think
Three and a
that
half
has a
hour.
good hit rate. Yeah, that has a good hit rate with these guys, So yeah, so
Anatomy of the Celebra Skeptic or the Celebra
yep,
Motivist.
yep. And so, uh, first of all, yeah, I would like also to say that now that the divinity debate is out, the entire objectivist movement can stop being on my back collectively. So there is that. And though I have like some questions that I would like to ask Zulu. So the first question would be, as we recently remember the infamous C4SS tweet about like white people or something like the traitor to, a treason to whiteness is service to civilization, which of course is collectivist nonsense. And uh, but something here really confuses me about these people, because they seem to be pretty much like they seem to be consistent anarchists. They don't call themselves ANCAPs, but from what I see, most left Rothbardians are consistent with the legal theory, but they're like basically vokes outside of the legal theory. So would you consider these people libertarians, because technically they are, and so they are part of the movement, but they certainly are very strange to me. Like, like how are you coming from broadly a, you know, critical Marxist, that kind of point of view, the critical theory point of view? How are you getting to the nap, or are they just like taking the nap and just like just stitch? Are they just stitching together a philosophy based on vibes? And another thing is, like, would you prefer these people to exist? Because there can be the argument that if there are to be vokes, I would rather like my vokes to be ANCAPs. So like, is that a valid thing to say?
Yeah. So there's, are they libertarians, and is it better that is it good that they're around? So I would say, are they libertarians? Certainly not the people who are saying things like treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity. They are not libertarians. I'm speaking of the market anarchists here, and this tweet is one reason why. I've said it many times before. I'm very suspicious of people who are afraid of the C word. They have capitalism phobia. They're just very afraid of the C word. You see these guys going around these agorist circles, the market anarchist circles. I'm very suspicious of them, because inevitably they end up spouting some leftist garbage, right? They're the prags of old, and they're very much infected by the prags of old, and there's very little dissent that I see coming from the market anarchists against this kind of garbage. So those ones which are infected with this, I don't think they are libertarians. To be a libertarian, I think you have to accept the non-aggression principle. That's it, and then you're a libertarian. I'm a thin libertarian in that sense. If you accept the non-aggression, it's a coalition. Libertarianism is a coalition fundamentally. It's not philosophy; it's a coalition. Where if you accept the non-aggression principle, then you're part of that coalition. Now there definitely are some market anarchists and agorists and whatnot who do accept the non-aggression principle, and yeah, sure, they're in the tent. But certainly not all of them. Now, are they better than the standard wokes? I mean, yeah, they're better than a straight up communist, but in another sense, they're more insidious, and we need to be more suspicious of them. Because at least with a communist, at least if someone's going around saying I love Karl Marx, and I want to create a dictatorship of the proletariat, at least then you're like, okay, well, great. I understand where you're coming from, and you're not even pretending to be one of me. But these C4SS types, and the prags in general, the old prags, that is, they're insidious in the way that they kind of infiltrate the movement, and that's very, very, very damaging. And I think not enough has been said about that, and that's why when I saw that tweet, I really went out and attacked them. And by the way, this all kind of kicked off because a contributor to C4SS, James _Conkin on Twitter, was arrested by ICE for his tweets, where he was saying that ICE agents deserve to have some bad things happen to them. We'll say it that way. He was arrested for that and has an injunction against him where he's not allowed to go on social media at all. And me and all my guys, we were on that way before C4SS ever got on that. And then in the midst of all this, they're tweeting out this bullshit about how treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity. And, rubbed some people the wrong way a little bit. And we were like, fuck you. Like, just go fuck yourself. Like, and that kind of kicked off the whole thing. And then I started shitting on them a whole lot. And I think it was deserved.
Apparently it was... apparently it was before.
It was before, but it's just
under ice.
I would say deserved. deserved still.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you posted your anti-white tweet just before we found out about one of your contributors, and then you waited like days before, you know, backing up your By the way, me and James, we're not exactly on like, you know, we're not the best of friends. Like we've scuffled before on Twitter, and yet I was way before C4SS. I was way before them in tweeting out this is abhorrent.
Yep.
That he was arrested. I was way before them. So deserved. I don't give a shit about trying to defend them with this little nitty-gritty shit. Like, fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is tweeting out how, you know, treason to whiteness is good is bad at any time. Okay, it doesn't actually matter whether it was before or after they found out about James Conkin. It was just a bad tweet in general. So that's kind of my position on it.
Yeah. And if I may say something, which would be like, this is my view of things. I think the way they are viewing the concept whiteness, and of course, this is a package dealing of sorts. The objective is we know about the term package dealing. So they're packaging together, let's say, things like slavery with the concept of whiteness, which would be a wrong package, right? Like it's like packaging together harming other people with selfishness. So I think that's the flaw.
And it's also just it's just one of these academic, like, kind of word sorcery games that leftists always love to play, and they're trying to play against us as if haven't seen this shit before. They're like, no, when we talk about whiteness, we don't mean anything to do with the white race. It's like, well, no, you're fucking lying, aren't you? Like, either they've swallowed their own fucking supply there, they've swallowed their own propaganda, in which case, like, you're just gullible, and I don't want anything to do with you on a strategic perspective if you're that gullible. Or they're trying to fucking twist the words around to try and trick me. It's like, no, that's not going to work. So it's still, I don't want anything to do with you. So all those people who were like, no, Zulu, when we say whiteness, we don't actually mean anything. It's like, oh, wait, why did you use that word? Why did you use that word? Why did you use the word whiteness if it has nothing to do with white people? Oh no, it was just, you know, that's just what words can mean different things, can't they? Like, this is what they do. They just throw out a random thing. Like, this is a classic nominalist play. Well, words can mean different things, can't they? It's like, this is a complete tangent. You just come in from a completely different direction there. It's not even a tangent. It's perpendicular. You just come in from a completely different direction. This doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. I don't care that words can mean different things. What do you mean by whiteness? You mean white men. That's what you mean. You're adopting Marxist race theory. That's what you're doing. You're applying Marxian class analysis to white versus non-white. That's what you're doing. That's what whiteness means. That's where it comes from. It comes from critical race theory. I just can't. They're just so dishonest with it. They can't admit what they're saying, and I hate that. That is so scummy. That is so sneaky.
And you know, like, there are a couple of things. First of all, then I get the question, okay, if you are applying the Marxist framework outside of legal theory, how the hell are you getting to the NAP legal theory, right? Like, it really doesn't make sense to me. It perplexes me in a way, you know. And the other thing is, so Roderick Long, who's like somewhat revered in libertarian circles, like he's part and parcel of C4SS. He's probably like their best guy, right? And like, he used to be an objectivist back in the day, and so like, how did this happen? I think when I'm free, or if someone else has the time, like, someone do a research into Long's development, because how does someone who know better go through this, you know? And there's something there. And if Zulu would like to comment on that, or Monhop would, like, what do you think about that? Like, he was an objectivist back in the day.
You know,
how did he become this?
He has definitely done some good stuff before. Like, his work on Iceland, I would say, is better than Friedman's work on Iceland. Friedman's work on Iceland is more famous, but Long's work on Iceland's better, I would say, like, because he actually had approached it from a natural law perspective, whereas Friedman just completely left that out. So, and obviously, the fucking big dunk guys, his fucking like the social media guy for C4SS, I can't remember his name. Like, he did like a whole
Corey something.
yeah, Corey Massimino or whatever. He did like this tweet where it's like, you guys think that Long is your guy? Well, here you go. And he like showed the tweet to Long, and Long was like, yeah, looks good to me. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't actually make us think better of you. It makes us think worse of Long. It makes me think that Long is a fucking commie. That's what it makes me think. It makes me think that Long is completely compromised, and well, we should have seen it coming. He keeps going around like every month, it seems. He's completely fucked himself, and he needs our money to stay in his house for another month. And it's like, oh well, you know what? That kind of beggar attitude, like like fuck him. Okay, that makes me think worse of Long. You know what? Sue me. I don't care. Okay. How about provide a fucking product? How about that? And then I'll pay you.
Yeah.
Right. And I quickly wanted to touch on what Zulu you were talking about previously. So I had a back and forth with Charles Koch about this. Because he had a tweet where he was talking
the
about
actual one, or
what
like someone on Twitter.
He was talking about whiteness. And so I just said to him, I was like, this is slightly further down the reply chain, but I think I'll pick it up because this is where it gets interesting. Is I basically said, like, look, whatever characteristics you would associate with whiteness are probably things that I quite like. And so his reply was, I doubt you like the state, slavery, or Yankee elites. And so I'm sitting there like, okay. So I don't know really that much about the American Civil War. I like because I was my knowledge of American history kind of is around the American Revolution, kind of 1760 to 1791 is where I would kind of be relatively well versed in American history, like the American Revolution, and the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, all that kind of stuff. So I got nothing. I got nothing for you on Yankee elites. I have no idea like what the characteristics of the Yankee elites are in general. But as far as the state and slavery goes, like the idea that you're going to associate a practice that has dated back to like before written records like even exist, and has been kind of pretty much ubiquitous across every culture that has ever existed in human civilization up until very, very recently, and which, by the way, was, I think it's fair to say, was most widely ended by European civilizations first. Like, look, they took far too long to do it, obviously, and to whatever extent whites enslaved other people, that was obviously terrible. But the idea that you're going to associate that and like the concept of the state as being associated with whiteness, it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, are we actually, is this actually like a meaningful category? If it's like, well, any kind of slavery and any kind of
White
statism
means
is
bad.
just whiteness.
Whiteness is badness. White means bad. Like,
yeah, pretty much. That seems to be the
Pretty
take.
black and white, if you ask me.
All right, I want to get through some of these hands.
I will just have to jump in.
Hey, I got two questions left.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I got
Mark.
two
Yeah,
questions.
But before you do that, Mon, I do have to jump in. Nuclear Mayhem 9238 for another 20 knock. Thank you very much. I love those kroners. I gobble them up. We pay you because your product is banger, Zulu. Indeed, and this I do want to comment on this. Like, this is why I like structure my course in the way that I do. Not like, logical structure or anything like that. I mean like payment structure. Like, the reason why I do, where you can look at the entire course, you can read the entire course for free, and I do zero work to try and prevent people from pirating the video version. I do zero work to do that. Like, it's out there, guys. If you didn't know, you can pirate it pretty easily. I don't deal with that because what I'm trying to do first and foremost is to get the information out there, and I trust that like people who see that information and understand it and really vibe with it and who would want to pay money for it, they will have the integrity to go, yeah, I want more of this stuff, and they'll pay for it. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
If that stops being effective, then I'll have to pivot. I'll have to figure out some other way to monetize. But thus far, it's worked. Like if my target audience, and this is why, by the way, also, like you see so many courses, it's like $200, and then you get this course. Okay, first of all, the instant you have a $200, you got to pay $200 to go forth. 99+% of people just clicked off your site. Like, goodbye, they're gone forever. They're not going to read your fucking course. So I think that's bad business. And this applies also, like, you'll notice that you don't have like an email sign up. Like, if I had an email sign, you have to sign up with your email. Free. You have to sign up with your email and join my mailing list, and then you get access to my course. Instantly, 70% of people have clicked off. Like that, I don't want to put any barriers from the landing page into the course. Like you can I want it to be as smooth as possible. And that's just good business, I think. Because I think I am a businessman. I'm trying to do business with you. I'm trying to give you a product, which I think is very valuable. And I'm being honest about what that product is. I'm saying that, hey, very honest. I'm saying, hey, here's the entire fucking product. Do you like it? Well, how about pay for it? Because you're an adult. You're an intelligent adult. You know that this doesn't come for free. So, whatever it is, pay for it. Pay however much you think this should cost for you, given your circumstances. And that business model has worked out very well for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
I just recommend the next speaker to be the central guy, because I think I've seen him before. I think he has
The first man has to go.
Yeah. Just let me get through my two things. So one thing I would ask is, Zulu, you commented on Jordan Peterson when talking about Alex O'Connor, and you said something to the effect of like, especially recently, he has become something. And like, I have this experience as well. I think you and me both, back in the day, we appreciated him, like back when he first came out, and certainly 12 Rules for Life has some good stuff in it, and like a little bit of bad stuff as well from an objectivist perspective. And Maps of Meaning is really, really profound. But what do you think of Peterson? Like, I do see like a degradation in the quality of his work from his peak. And do you agree with that? And what do you think the reasons might be?
I mean, I think those fucking amphetamines might have scrambled his brain or something. Like he's completely gone off the reservation. He's not particularly worth listening to these days. But he used to be very much worth listening to. And I would still recommend to anybody read Maps of Meaning. He's always gone down these kind of like long paths where he goes into a little bit of voodoo talk. But there's normally something underneath the voodoo talk. But these days it seems like the voodoo talk is just kind of taking the primacy with him.
Yeah. It's mostly voodoo talk now. And the last question, which is kind of a joke question, but I think it might be interesting, would be, so Zulu, would you prefer me to be here talking and collaborating, or would you prefer me to be in your chat and sending a lot of super chats?
Porque no los dos. Why not both? I like money and I like your collaboration.
All right. I'll keep that in mind. All right. I'm not gonna speak for a while because I took a lot of time, and thank you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Man. I do want to hear from Eli next, and then we'll go to Decentral C. But I know Eli's been waiting for a while. So, Eli, please go ahead, man. And then I promise we will get to all the rest of the hands. Eli, you're up, brother. Am I the only one that can't hear him?
I cannot hear him at all.
I can't.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hear you now.
Yes. Sorry for like letting me speak again, but there was one thing I wanted to touch on regarding semantics, and I'm not sure since I'm kind of brand new to this entire theory and ideology in general. Is there any like resources regarding like grounding language in some type of objective standard so that the semantic debate, which seems to be the main issue when people are kind of talking, seems to be like, oh, well, I'm using this definition, this person using this definition. Has there been any like work on that?
So I would recommend looking into Leonard Peikoff's History of Philosophy course. You can get it. The relevant episodes are free on YouTube. Specifically, his lectures on the nominalists. I think there is some more elaboration on that in his History of Modern Philosophy course, which wink wink, you can't get it for free on any websites if you Google it. Wink wink, because that would be piracy, of course. But yeah, that I would look into that. But also like I haven't looked into language specifically, but that would kind of address your like, oh well, words just mean whatever. It means whatever, you know. The general area you're looking for is epistemology. There's obviously Introduction to Objectivist Epistemology by Ayn Rand. That would be the main one. And also I've been reading Harry Binswanger's How We Know. That's been very good so far. That goes over all of epistemology. Like, it's a very in-depth book. But also I would say for like one little tidbit of language, one little tidbit I could give you, perhaps, this is probably said by other people elsewhere, but the main purpose of language isn't actually to communicate. This seems like a strange thing to say, but it's true. The main purpose of language is to concretize concepts, is to give it specific symbols and sounds which go with the concept. So I can just say tree, and I know the exact concept I'm talking about. I don't have to reintegrate that concept. Now, this is something which comes straight from objectivist epistemology on concept formation. How are concepts formed? The final step is giving that concept a symbol to concretize it. And this is, you know, one of the reasons why you look at chimps. They've got a very big brain, but they don't have any language. And guess what else they don't have? They don't have concepts. It comes with your linguistic faculty. This is my speculation. I think that the linguistic faculty is intimately tied with the rational faculty. I don't think you can have a rational faculty without language. I think they're one and the same. I really, and you know, this is one of the reasons why they're looking towards large language models to try and make general intelligence, artificial general intelligence. I think they're wrong about a lot of their philosophical priors with how they're going about trying to make a true general intelligence. But like, they're at least correct in that language is key.
For sure. Awesome. I think Eli appreciates that response. That was very, very in depth. Quickly on the piracy thing, and then I'll just have a quick aside, and then we'll go to the rest of the hands. Because you've obviously been talking about how you're like, hey, like, you know, if you go ahead and pirate my work, like, I don't really care. Just go for it. It reminds me of Safedine. I think it's Amoose is how you pronounce his surname, but the guy that's like written like the Bitcoin standard, the fiat standard, you know, he's a big like Bitcoin maximalist type. He gets into a lot of arguments with people on the internet, so I obviously look up to him very much for that. But someone was asking him like, oh, he was talking about Bitcoin or something, and someone was like, oh, where can I, you know, find more of your stuff on this? He's like, well, you can go to this website and buy it, or you can just pirate the PDF. I don't really care. So I thought that was quite funny. He was just, yeah, like, you know, go ahead, pirate my work. I don't really care that much as long as you're reading the content and enjoying it. That's the main thing I'm after.
Yeah, and that's the correct attitude to have it. In fact, I've got a copy of his book over my suitcase in the other room, so you know it works. Like that type of attitude, it's the correct attitude to have, because the most important thing, if you're If you're gonna write a whole fucking book, then you goddamn want that information out there. You know, you want that information out there as much as possible. So, and this is the point Kinsella makes. So why not just let people have the fucking book in a PDF? You've already got the fucking PDF. Just let people have it.
Right, and I suppose the thing is, if someone, you know, if someone's not willing to, you'd rather have someone be exposed to the information and then decide, and then let that be the decision maker as far as like whether they want to help contribute to what you've done. You don't want it to be, okay, first I demand the money and then I give you the content, and then you find it's only after the fact. It just, as you said, it raises the barrier to entry, because you have to decide before you know anything about the quality of the content or what this person's offering, whether you want to give them money for it. So that's where it can be kind of, it probably closes off your options as far as, and it can be counterintuitive. Like, I get it, because you're like, well, if I just give my content away, then no one's going to pay for it. But I think just through observation, it's pretty clear that it's not just you, Zulu. I mean, most streamers, just in general, like their content is just available for free, right? Like, you can go on Twitch now and watch any Twitch streamer you want. Even the biggest ones, they earn, millions and millions of dollars. Okay, but you can just go and watch them completely for free, and then it's only because people enjoy their content so much that people start contributing because they want to see more of it. Because I think implicitly everyone kind of understands that, like, well, the only reason, in order to see more of this that I like, I have to contribute to it financially in order to make it worthwhile for the content creator.
Yeah, it's like the boomer model of media, where it used to, it comes from a place where once upon a time it used to be very expensive to, for instance, create a roll of film to send out to a movie theater, or like a CD might have cost like $1 or $2. Like, it used to. Sorry, I just had an alarm go off my phone. One moment. It used the cost used to be higher, and that's where it came from. And then there's just sort of this cargo cult mentality which followed with that, where now it's basically free. For me, it's free to distribute my content to as many people as I goddamn want, right? Because it costs pennies, less, fractions of a penny, for the whole internet apparatus to transfer that data out. And that's why you can upload YouTube videos for free, because it really doesn't cost them very much at all per video. Like, it's very, very cheap. And like, there's still this boomer mentality with people where they feel the need to like paywall their content. But it's like, why paywall the content? Because you think you deserve money for it? Well, if you think you deserve money for it, then convince people to give you money for it. Don't paywall it. That doesn't, you're not convincing anybody with that. That's a bad sales tactic, okay? It doesn't work. That's a good sales tactic if you're selling sofas. If I'm selling sofas, then yeah, I'm going to fucking paywall that shit. Because it will cost me so much per person who just goes and takes a sofa with them. But it costs me $0 for any person to copy my course 1 trillion times over. That cost me $0. So why the fuck paywall it? Why would I paywall it? What is the justification behind that paywalling?
Right. Last point here, and then I promise we'll move on and get to the rest of the hands. But this is just something that I've come up with while you've been talking. But I think maybe what you're pointing at is kind of why newspapers became, like, in terms of like older forms of media and communication, why newspapers became so popular was because, like, yes, there's a paywall, like you've got to pay whatever amount of money it is to buy a copy of the paper, but it's an incredibly soft paywall, because you can also, like, most cafes, most, like, a lot of doctors' offices, all sorts of places just have copies of, the newspaper in your area just sitting around that you can pick up and read completely for free, right? Whether you're waiting for a haircut or a cup of coffee or whatever else at a cafe. And so that helped. And even like when a newspaper is sitting on like on the stand outside of like a news agency or wherever you're going to buy the newspaper, like you see the front page and you see like and that's why they obviously the front page is so important because they put all the key information on there. And so there's a whole bunch of people that are seeing all this content for free, and you would think, well, that's going to be super problematic for the newspaper because aren't these people just getting all the content for free and then they, they're not going to buy it. But I mean, they may not buy that copy of the paper, but if they pick up and read it and they're like, oh, this is interesting, like this is good journalism, I'm interested in how this guy writes or whatever else, then maybe they will buy the next copy of the paper or they will start contributing because they think, oh, this is actually worthwhile, I'm going to keep this thing going. So this is just kind of spur in the moment here. But I think that could be an explanation for why newspapers kind of took off for a long period of time. And obviously they're declining now because as much as there was a low barrier to entry for a newspaper, the barrier to entry for the internet is far lower again. But interesting to consider. So Zula, unless you've got any super chats you want to read out or anything, I'll get to some more of the hands. So I want to start with Decentral C, and then we'll go to Ace, and then Zark, and then we'll keep things rolling. And I promise we will get to all the hands. But Decentral C, please go ahead.
Hey, yeah. So it sounded like when I first joined earlier, you guys were bringing up the James Conkin situation and the C4SS whiteness post. Seemed like people were trying to attack C4SS about posting that instead of posting about James. So I do need to at least clarify some things about that. So I'm looking back at it, and I first found this Forbes article about James's case January 10th, earlier this month, and started posting about it then. And it looks like around 2 days after that, on the 12th, Corey Massimino DM'd me and just said, hey, I want to post about James. What more information can you give me? So I just gave him basically all the details that I had at that point. Court case, the article, details, anything else that I'd found out so far. And of course, I don't know exactly everything that went on internally for C4SS or whoever after that. But I can pretty reasonably assume that Corey just took the extra information that I gave him through that conversation, talked to others at C4SS to prepare their statement, and then made a post about it. And as we know, their treason to whiteness post was something that was already scheduled before people started seeing my post about James and looking into more information, finding out what details
Just
they can.
real quick, I'm going to let you continue. I'm going to let you continue real quick. Can you please move a little bit further away from your mic, or turn your mic down or whatever it is?
Too loud.
It's just
too loud.
It's
Sorry.
it's
Okay.
too loud.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I have it. I'm on speaker. Whatever. My bad. Anyway, point being, the facts being what they are, unless, to my knowledge, I was probably the first person to start posting about James's case to our particular side of Twitter. That Forbes article was the only really piece of information out regarding this case at that point. And maybe anyone who might have seen that article might not have known that that's actually referring to our James Conkin that we know from Twitter. So all that's to say, unless there's someone else who already knew about the specifics of this case, started posting about it, started spreading the word to Liberty Twitter, whoever else would have got it along to C4SS, I have to say that if you're someone who was dogpiling C4SS and saying that they waited a week or more to start commenting on, the situation regarding one of their own, or they were only caring about the whiteness shit instead of James's situation, it is worth pointing out that you are full of shit. And I can confidently say, knowing James personally, that if he had access to his social media right now, he would also tell you publicly that you are full of shit regarding this matter. And for what it's worth, I can pretty confidently say he would have retweeted the treason to whiteness post. So C4SS, frankly, did nothing wrong. I'm saying this is someone who has basically as much inside info on what's been going on as possible. I think if you are using anything regarding this as an excuse to dogpile C4SS, Corey, Roger Klong, whoever, you are a child. You need to move on from that mindset. I think if you are at all interested in focusing on what's important regarding James's case, this needs to not be about fucking clout chasing. This needs to not be about intra-libertarian squabbles and culture war proxies, which really this is what it is. I don't even think any of you have beef with C4SS ideologically, even beyond just surface level culture war shit. So I think you have an obligation to move on from that. Your criticisms of C4SS are off based and in many regards just fabricated. And if you care about James, you should know better and act better. So that's all.
Yeah, so I will just say, you know, however long it takes C4SS to get there, it was a good amount of time that the fucking coal mine group chat on Twitter that I'm in, we were on there way before fucking C4SS. Way before. However fucking long it was. Way before we were on there. So that doesn't reflect...
Okay, how long... Can I ask? Was there a source of information you found out about...
No. It was your tweet.
That wasn't sourced from me. Was there...
It was your tweet. And we were there way before C4SS. We were on the ground. We got our ears to the ground, boy. We got our fucking ears to the ground, man. And I'll also say, like, this is a great opportunity to jump on this culture war thing. To jump on this, specifically because C4SS was jumping on the culture war. Why the fuck else did they do, though? Treason against whiteness is revolution for humanity bullshit. They're trying to jump on the culture war. It's perfectly legitimate to jump on them right back. That is perfectly legitimate. This is a great opportunity to rile up the troops and attack C4SS. I am completely behind that 100%. I don't really give much of a shit about, like, I'm a defender of James Conkin. I'm trying to defend James Conkin here. I don't care about that. Okay, I said at the time, I don't give a shit about that. Okay, I tweeted out what I tweeted out. I will defend James Conkin as far as a tweet or two goes. That's as far as I'll defend him. Okay, I don't know the guy. I haven't really had, any intimate relations. I don't even think that I've had particularly good relations with him in the past. We are mutuals, and I certainly don't think he deserves to be fucking locked up in a cage. I think that's horrible, and I'll defend him as far as a tweet or two goes. I will be open and honest about that. But I will absolutely use this hatred towards C4SS generated as an opportunity to attack them for their horrific behavior. Namely, saying that treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity. I think that is disgusting stuff. And I think everybody should jump on that. Use whatever fucking excuse you goddamn want. I don't care what excuses people use to jump on that, so long as they jump on it. And I support that.
I think, real quick, I'm super glad that Zulu clarified he's never had gay sex with James Conkin by saying that they've never had intimate relations. So I'm very grateful for that. But second of all, I think his name's Justice was the guy that was up. He left. I promise I didn't kick him. I'm assuming Zulu didn't kick him. So he just left right after while Zulu was speaking.
I assume he said his bit and then just didn't want to hear it. There's the left class, the woke left. They don't want to hear any counter arguments. I'm Charlie Kirk, and I'm carrying the flame, and they don't want to hear my counter arguments, bro. I'm destroying these leftists.
Right, and can I just say, like, his argument that it was us that was jumping on the culture war slop, which I agree, by the way. Like, the less culture war conversation on Liberty Twitter, the better, as far as I'm concerned. It's mostly low IQ bullshit that doesn't really push the narrative forward. But they were the ones that fucking started it, and people just responded. It's like, okay, like, look, if you don't want to talk about culture war stuff, real quick, man, I promise I'll let you jump in. But like, if you don't want to do culture war shit, then don't post treason to whiteness is revolution for humanity. Just don't post that, okay? And then we won't talk about it, okay? It really is that fucking simple, all right? And so, like, yeah, to the extent, I know there are a couple of people, like a couple of friends of mine who got on C4SS for posting about the whiteness thing while they knew about the James Conkin thing. It seems like that was incorrect. Like, it seems like, based off of what we know, that they posted that before anyone was actually aware. And so, you know, to whatever extent that is the case, like, you know, that criticism was false. But the general point stands, okay? They took too long to, you know, defend someone who was supposed to be their, like, ideological, you know, follower. And the post was just bad, just in general. Okay, it was a bad post, and it deserved criticism regardless of the surrounding context of what was going on with James. So that's basically my stance on that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a short, tell a short story about that guy who just came up here. I was invited to the Radical Libertarian Caucus by a different guy, and then I debated this guy who's up here, on like transing the kids. Basically, I'm not sure if that's fine for Zulu, but yeah, I'm just not going to go into it. But he instantly banned me when we are debating it, and I kind of won that. So yeah, that's interesting. I'd later spoken with him. He's been cool about different
because they're all the
things,
same.
but yeah, that's
Like, they're all the same.
Yeah.
You can just tell when someone's coming in and they're forming, like, we are all market anarchists and we're lefty and we're left Rothbard. Like, you can tell exactly what the way they're gonna be. I mean, you know, I will give Dave Smith props for this. Goddamn, he had to deal with these people head on. Like, these people used to run the Libertarian Party, and holy shit, they're fucking annoying as hell. They are really, you can tell exactly what they are. They're communist infiltrators.
right. I just want to say that there's also, like, Alice Decay. She mentioned, or he, I don't know. He mentioned that there's right-wing agorism. Yeah, no, I don't know what is, if it's he or she or whatever. So that's just focusing on the strategy. That's what I'm doing. I don't like calling it left or right, but yeah, there are
agorism.
Not afraid of the C word.
Agorism in a narrow sense, I will say, agorism in a narrow sense is fine. Where it's like, you know, you grow cucumbers and you trade them with your neighbors or whatever. Like, that's fine. Building up the counter economy, whatever, right? I think it's non-essential. I don't think it defines an ideology or anything. I think it's like an anarcho-frogism. But whatever, yeah, go ahead and do that. But like, the people who are really like, no, I'm to my core an agorist. Like, okay, well, you're calling me. Like, I can tell.
All right. I'm more thinking about the strategy about this. Yeah, of course, the counter economics is a part of it, but I think the more important part is just no state involvement. That is the essential there, I would say.
For sure, man. All right, let's get through some of these hands. I want to go to Ace first, and then we'll go to Zark, and then we'll keep it moving. So, Ace, please go ahead.
Thank you, Non-Hop. I mean,
You're going to have to improve your mic real quick.
Hello?
You are very much muffled.
Hello, is that better? Hello?
Yes, way better.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So, of course, I do want to run an argument through you two, if that's okay. It's a quick premise conclusion argument. It's just I want to see your thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so premise one is that agents act using imperfect, revisable beliefs. Premise two is actions occur under real constraints and have irreversible effects. Premise three is
sorry. Can you repeat?
Oh, sorry.
Premise one.
Premise 2? Oh, premise 1 is agents act using imperfect, revisable beliefs.
Using what?
Revisable beliefs.
Agents act using revisable beliefs.
Imperfect,
Yes.
revisable beliefs. So, yeah.
Yeah. Premise
Right.
2 is actions occur under real constraints and have irreversible effects. Yeah.
Actions occur under real constraints and have real effects.
And have irreversible effects.
I think those stand. Like the first point is just man is fallible, and the second point is that the consequences of your actions are real and not reversible. I think those stand.
Yeah, they basically. And premise 3 is a reason that fails when error is acknowledged cannot function as a reliable guide to action.
Sorry, repeat that.
A reason that fails when error is acknowledged cannot function as a reliable guide to action.
I could counter that, but I would let Zulu go first.
A reason that fails when error is acknowledged cannot function as a reliable guide to action.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, if someone tries to reason for a contradiction, which is obviously an error, it can't function as a reliable guide to action because of the contradiction. Right?
So, sorry, is that the conclusion? A reason that fails?
No, that's premise 3. Premise 4 is agents can only act meaningfully or can only meaningfully endorse actions guided by reasons they can rely on.
Agents can only act meaningfully, or can only meaningfully endorse actions they rely on.
Guided by reasons they can rely on. So reasons that don't refute central axioms, for example.
Sorry, agents can only act meaningfully, or can only meaningfully endorse actions guided.
Endorse actions guided by reasons that, guided by reasons that they can rely on.
Okay. Just real quick, how long is this argument? How many premises?
I'm on the conclusion now. I'm on the conclusion now. The conclusion is an action is ethically permissible for a actor/agent only if its guiding reasons remain usable under acknowledged fallibility and disagreement.
Can remain permissible for an actor or agent only if...
Only if its guiding reasons remain usable under acknowledged fallibility and disagreement.
Let me just repeat that. An action is ethically permissible for an actor/agent only if its guiding reasons remain usable under fallibility and reasonable disagreement.
Yes.
Okay, what does that mean?
So what I mean by that is, for example, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, is basically ethical endorsement depends on epistemic survivability.
Okay, so it's like a pragmatist thing.
No, not pragmatist. Because epistemic survivability is not practical survivability. It's not saying what works.
But you're saying
for something to work, it must.
But you're saying an ethical truth is only true. There is only an ethical truth if it's fallible, if it's usable.
But then a theory but like then a theory is a theory on reality. So basically, any theory is usable as long as it isn't contradictory.
Well, if any theory is usable, then it's just like a nothing. Like, because then every single claim is usable, right? Any true claim is usable. Claim. So like it wouldn't. So then it wouldn't break down in the emergency situation. The truth doesn't break down in emergency situations then.
Yeah, I'm basically trying to make the argument that basically for something to be, and it's a hard argument to make because I'm a bit, or I have a hard time socially speaking, but that's fine. It's to say that basically, I'm trying to figure out how to put this, but it's to say that basically something can only be permissible if you can acknowledge its fallibility and disagreement, right? So, for example, humans aren't omniscient, basically.
So something can only be true if you can acknowledge its fallibility and have disagreement over it.
Yeah.
I reckon that's probably true of all statements. So I suppose so.
And the reason why I brought up this basically argument is because I wanted to see that I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. That basically sorry, I'm trying to think of the absolute best way to put this. But it's basically an argument against contradictory beliefs and beliefs which go against because if something errors in the reason itself, then it's not a reason and it can't be used as justification, basically.
Okay, so if somebody's making like a contradiction in their statements, then their reasoning is false.
Kind of, but I'm trying to, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I agree with that. I believe Man had an issue with one of your premises here, though.
What premise did Man have an issue with?
Yep. See, I was just saying that there are like two ways of interpreting what you were saying, but I think if you're just saying that a contradiction in your reason, if a contradiction is discovered in your reasoning, then any ethical theory you build from that is false, then yeah, I would agree. But bro, you chose a hell of a set of words to say that, man.
I mean,
there are 5 interpretations in my mind on that.
Basically, the best way to put it, right? And yes, I have an interest in dialect. It's not advanced. It's not subvanced. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of an interest in dialect. It's a British dialect.
Yeah.
But basically, in plain text, the argument is humans live in a real world that basically limits what can be done. We disagree about values and make mistakes because resources are scarce and our actions sometimes clash. To live together without chaos, we need rules to manage conflicts, but those rules do not need rulers, moral authority, or claim to ultimate truth. And they should be minimal, revisable, and exist only to prevent interference and not to impose meaning or values. Basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that broadly. It's the we're coming at basically the non-aggression principle from another angle, right? And I think you could clean up the wording a little bit to make it more understandable, but I think where you're going is sound. So yeah. Because I would say the way you are using the word reason, you're using it like you should use the word reasoning instead, because reason is the broader term, right? Reason is the whole method itself. It's the faculty itself. So I would say use contradictory reasoning instead of the word reason. So fixes like that. But I think your the spirit of your argument stands, even if I would disagree with terminology and structure here or there.
Yep. So, is there any disagreements? Does anyone have? And thank you, by the way. Does anyone actually disagree heavily with these statements?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not
No, I think you're
trying to pass it too closely, but it seems okay from my perspective.
I
do
will
want to
say Decentral
go ahead.
C has come back into the speaker, so he might have like lagged out or like been kicked out. But Twitter Spaces, they can't sometimes like fuck you over, so he might be needing to come back in on the previous discussion. I would suggest perhaps bringing him back in after this.
And I would like to speak in Justice's defense. Like we have been collaborating on the James issue, and he has been a real fighter. So he is. I do think there might be a disagreement. It might get it, but I think uh, at heart he's a good person. So I'm pretty sure he didn't run away. I'm pretty sure it like lagged out or something. So
Cool. All right. Well, we'll go to Justice now, and then we'll hit the rest of the hands.
Yeah, sorry about the interruption before. I think I was just in the middle of trying to ask you if, maybe around what timeline you or people became aware of the James situation. Because just from the way people were reacting to C4SS, Corey, a couple other people, it was as if everyone had publicly known about this situation for half a week or more, and C4SS was somehow dragging its feet or ignoring what was going on. So I'm not sure what that perception or reaction is exactly rooted in. But if you know something I don't, I'm curious.
I mean, I saw Hani, antagonist Hani, and Ace Archist talking about it, and then I did like a tweet about it, I believe. I might not have, I can't remember, but I saw them talking about it, and I was like promoting the situation. And I remember that there was some discussion. I'm not going to share specific DMs or anything, but there was a discussion in the coal mine DMs about like, why isn't C4SS talking about this? And I was like, okay, well, hold on, guys. Like, because people were wanting to kind of like go after C4SS, and I was like, hold on, they might have like, I was under the impression that James was like an employee or something. So I was like, well, they might have like some specific injunction against them where they're not allowed to talk about it. Like the lawyers might have told
James is like a C4SS fan. Yeah.
Yeah,
he wasn't an employee.
I know. But I was under the impression like, well, he might be an employee, so like they might have a good reason for not talking about it. And then like I went to sleep, and then the next day they still hadn't talked about it at all. And like I saw that fucking whiteness tweet, and I was like, okay, well, all my goodwill for them has gone out the fucking window at this point. And that is the timeline as I saw it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that does somewhat make sense. I mean, of course, you could verify with Ace himself whether this is the case, but as far as I know, Ace found out about this directly from me, either in a group chat or just from seeing the thread that I had started about James, and he definitely started posting about it like as a reaction to when I started posting about it. And so, like, firsthand, I can trace the genealogy pretty easily that Ace found out about it as a result of me spreading the word. Corey Massimino found out about it as a result of me posting about it. Whoever else at C4 says, I don't know.
I do have a question for you, though.
I don't know what order it was for them, but like
how
there's nothing to suggest that they were delaying in the timeline or ignoring what was going on.
From your perspective, how long did it take from C4SS definitely knowing about it to them actually posting about it?
So C4SS definitely knew about it. I don't know how early everyone at C4SS knew about it exactly, Corey
At least the social media.
Massimino,
Yeah, Corey. At least Corey.
Corey Massimino knew about it January 12th, which was around 2 days, within 2 days after I first started posting about it. I was updating the thread with more details on like the 11th and 12th. It was the same week. It was the same couple days that I first found out about it, that some of the people affiliated with C4SS first found out about it as well.
Like I'm just trying to get like
there were people close to C4SS or, contributors to C4SS who were some of the first people that I told. Before you or any of your friends found out about it, I guarantee that I was spreading the news to them first.
Okay, so you can see where we're coming from then. Like, so then they did know.
I can see where you're leaping to conclusions.
I mean, I don't see how it's leaping. Like, they knew before me, and yet I tweeted before them.
Okay, and that's the only thing that matters, is that you tweeted first?
In the conversation, yes. In the conversation of who tweeted first, yeah, it matters who tweeted first.
That's the conversation. All right.
Okay,
Sure.
what is the conversation then? What is the conversation then?
The conversation is about the responsibility to get the facts straight. And I can say from personal experience that
did we get any facts wrong?
People affiliated with C4SS put more effort into reaching out to me directly to see what I knew, what extra information that I could provide. Any delay that they might have had, unless I want to be incredibly uncharitable to their organization for no reason, I can only think that they took their time communicating internally, gathering, verifying information, and reaching out to relevant people, like maybe someone like me who was one of the earlier people who started talking about this. They reached out to see if they could talk to any of his family members, anyone who knows anything more directly. Maybe they would be getting in touch with ACLU, Fire, IJ, some of the same organizations that I've been talking about. Why does it matter most?
Hold on.
Tweets faster. Why is that the priority for you?
What we were contesting, what was always being contested, is that it took C4SS days to tweet out any amount of support. It's a Twitter account, right? That's what they do. They tweet. It took them much longer than people who were not even ideologically affiliated with James to do any amount of showing of support. That is what was being contended. And based on what you've just said right now, it seems like that accusation is even worse. Because you specifically reached out to them before any of us even knew about it. Is that not true?
Is your implication that they should have made a statement faster?
Yeah, that's my claim.
Before doing any kind of quality assurance with the information.
My claim is that
because being the ambulance chaser is the most important thing to you in this scenario.
I'm just saying, like, if I had I've got a Discord server. If one of my Discord server, like somebody who's contributing, let's say Man here, he's contributed somewhat to my channel. If Man was arrested, and I heard that Man was arrested, I would tweet out that second. That second, I would be calling. I won't say what I was about to say, but I'd be calling for some things to happen. I would be very, very much upset. I would be immediately on the ball. If Monhop here, he's my contributor here on the Remnant episode 3, brilliant episode number. If Monhop was arrested by, fucking Australian police services,
probably not far off at the moment, to be honest.
I would be, I would tweet about that within the minute. Not even within the hour, not even within the day, within the minute, I would be talking about that and trying to rally people for his support. C4SS, apparently they take a bunch of fucking deliberation for that. No deliberation required for saying that white people deserve to die. No deliberation required there. A bunch of deliberation. Should we support our guy? Should we support this guy who's been contributing to us for years? I don't know. It takes a lot of deliberation there. This seems like a retarded fucking counter here. It doesn't make any sense to me what you're saying here. I think he may have gone.
Yeah, I think he's either lagged out or left again. I don't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume he lagged out. Anyway, so we'll keep it rolling. Man, do you want to jump? Man, do you want to jump? Man, your mic seems to be a little bit questionable at the moment. At least it was when you first started talking, but no, it's not better now. It's still not great. That's better.
Now? So it really just matters which room I'm in.
Yeah, you're still like borderline, but good enough to be able to mostly hear.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit in the exact place where I was.
Okay,
so,
yeah, don't move a muscle.
Yeah, so the geography overlords can let me speak. So, so first of all, I would like to thank Zulu for the compliment. It's very heartfelt. Thank you. And I would like to say also, it's far more important to be on time and later be found out to be wrong, because what's like you later issue an apology and it's fine, right? But like in events like this, when things like this happen, like you have to, like, seconds matter, minutes matter, hours matter, right? You got to be on it, and so I would still say that, sure, like they were deliberating, they're an organization, but then that's a critique of their organizational structure, right? That they should be more, on point, they should be faster about these things. So that critique still stands, and sure, it's not
like imagine
nobody's saying that,
imagine if their own headquarters was raided by the police or something. Some horrible thing happens in market anarchist, news. Some horrible thing happens in market anarchism. And it takes them days to deliberate. Should we use a full stop there? Or should we use a semicolon? Like, this is bad. Like, why do you have a social media manager? The social media manager should be on that shit. He should be that minute. He should be tweeting out news. We're in a 24-hour news cycle here, guys. You need to be fast with this shit. Like, come on.
Or you could say just reportedly, right? Just to make sure it's fake news.
Yeah. Allegedly, reportedly, right? Like, there are words to be used here, and it's like, sure, like if you're going by a more traditional organization, looks like, yeah, they take time, but that's the problem with them. They take time. They shouldn't be. And sure, like they might be doing some things. They might be helping James out, and I really hope he gets off. I'm pretty sure, I did a little of a review of his legal case. I'm pretty sure he gets off. The charges they have against him are very, very far-fetched. So here's hoping for James, but like C4SS should be an organization in his corner with far more veracity and far more support, and like far sooner as well, right? Like it's 24-hour news cycle. This should have been viral. This should have been, that visibility might help him. And I would want to, I've approached Justice as well, and the offer is always on the table, man. Whenever, if you ever want to do a podcast about this or anything about this, any way I can help you out in this, I actually tried calling the American embassy in India, but they literally said we can't do anything about. So like, what kind of, So in my limited capacity, I did all I could, and I would say C4SS should have been a little faster. So I think that's the argument that's been given, and then the argument about the the wide word thing was that's a separate.
Yeah, so I want to. Okay, so I want to get through some more of these hands, and if people want to,
there is priority all here, because if anybody in the organization knew about it, it should have been much faster. So it's far better to be on time but wrong and later issue an apology than wait too long and miss your chance to defend someone you care about. So that would be my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, for sure, man. I know Justice is here again, but I want to try and get through some more of these hands because there are people that have been waiting a while, and we.
Yeah, get through the
People hear me?
hands.
Or
Yeah,
am I edged out?
Mom, we can hear you, but you're lagging as shit. Yeah, get through the hands.
Yeah, so I'm going to get through some more of these hands because people have been waiting a while, and I'm sure people want to talk about other stuff as well. So we'll go to Zark next, and then Steve Harp, and then Acorn. So Zark, please go ahead.
All right, guys, thank you. Can you guys hear me all right?
What has happened?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So I just want to sort of, I guess, wrap up the whole Center for Stateless Society and specifically the abolish whiteness tweet part of it. So, because I mean, I imagine that's sort of the main crux of the thing, like why Zulu is really pointing out just the, like, I mean, so from what I understand, like Justice posted about it on the 10th, and then Center for Stateless Society about it posted on the 13th. So, I mean, I don't have like I don't think that's that as by itself is a huge deal, but the fact that they have that abolish whiteness post is more of just a overall like this is sort of like the like how effective your brand is, like that's what you're doing when this is happening and it's taken you 3 days. I mean, if you just didn't have that post, maybe it wouldn't have been a big deal, but I mean they are posting things during this time, and yet something that important, it was a 3 day gap, even if maybe by itself 3 days isn't long, but they're posting stuff during that time. But now on to the abolish whiteness part of it. So I want to be as charitable as possible to them because I did see some people kind of, I think, fall into, I don't want to say like their purposeful trap, but something that can obviously happen where, they say we should abolish whiteness, and then some people take a interpretation from that I think is very reasonable when you just say something like that, which is like, oh, they're calling for like harm to be done on individual people with white skin. I mean, you're saying abolish whiteness. Those people are white. If you kill them all and there's no more white people, you've abolished the whiteness. Like I can see how somebody would come with that interpretation. And, some people were attacking them for that. And their main response was like, you think me, Corey, and Roderick Long, 3 white guys, want to see all the white people be murdered? Do you really think that's what we mean? And, I admit that would be certainly very odd if that's what they meant and they aren't just going around, killing themselves, reducing the problem by one, as Hans would say, or, attacking other white people. That doesn't seem to be what they're doing. So it is odd when they say something that would seem to indicate that's what they would be doing. So I was at least willing to, ask them what they were doing. So I think Monhop had talked about having a talk with Charles, and that's who I had a talk with. So on the 13th, when this was sort of popping off, he tweeted, the last 10 years or so, I've been pretty confident both that, one, the lefty whiteness is about power, not any specific people group thing is 100% correct, and two, it's an awful idea to rely on that in popular audience rhetoric. I've seen zero reasons to budge on either point. So I reply to him, I'm just not sure why people feel the need to refer to that power as whiteness when it seems like that's obviously going to be misinterpreted. He replies, 2 answers. First, that's why I think the second point about it being awful for short-term popular audience-facing rhetoric is true. Second, as a substantive matter, that's because the apparent natural category just is the power category made to look like a natural category. This is, that lefty language where I just lose complete understanding of what they're even talking about. So I quote that part and I say, when you say this, do you mean that there appears to be a real, non-socially constructed category, race, but in reality it's just a power category, it's some socially constructed hierarchy? His response, yes, exactly. Okay, we're on the same page, we're breaking ground, we're making progress. I respond, I think I would maybe largely agree, but what does this look like in practice once whiteness is abolished? What does that mean? So, like, skin pigmentation is a real thing, but race is a social convention largely based on it. Fine, I'm willing to see where they're kind of coming from there. I can now at least, like, have a discussion with them. I know what they're trying to tell me. But then, I just get to what does it actually look like when whiteness is abolished? Like when a super pale person is talking to a super dark person, are they just completely oblivious to that fact? Do they just not have words to, make that distinguishment? Which, I mean, I don't see what the point is of that or how feasible that is. And, after Charles responded that I was, yes, exactly, I was following, I was tracking, just no response. So that's sort of my problem with the lefty libertarians when they get to this sort of point where I don't want to say that they're, endorsing a genocide against white people, because I do think that is sort of just, it's silly. Like that can't be what they're saying. But at the same time, anytime you try to get them to explain what they mean, there's like a very specific set of vocabulary that there's always using about, like, power, power dynamics, social hierarchies, and things like that. And once you like ask them to sort of break through there, it's just like you get to a point where there's just nothing beyond that. I have no idea what they actually mean when they say abolish whiteness, and I want to give them the benefit of a doubt that they're not talking about killing people.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
mean,
Okay. 2 seconds.
Hold on,
Okay,
hold on.
Zach,
No. I'm first. I'm first. Mike podcast. I get to speak first. So I will say, based on the whole like power thing, like this lefty jargon, like I asked again, Charles G. Coke.
Okay. First off,
okay, you're
I want to explain
Monhop
something.
kick him. Monhop kick him.
I'm kicking that guy from the speaker panel. Okay.
Okay.
You can pretty clearly see, just for people that are coming up, you can pretty clearly see that there's people that have their hand raised that are waiting to speak. So if you want to come up and talk, that's fine. That's what we're here for. But you need to do so respectfully and be respectful of both myself and Zulu as the co-hosts, and also the rest of the people that are waiting to speak. And no, this guy, you're not coming back up and speaking again. I'm not going to respect that speaker request. So that's just not going to happen. So you can keep requesting, bro, if you want, but you're not coming back up. Anyway, Zulu, go ahead.
And also, it's my podcast, and I get to speak. But that's just how it is. Sorry, bro. World's unfair. But I will say, yeah. So for the whole PowerPoint, like the whole lefty jargon thing, I was also in my own Twitter exchange with this Charles G. Coke, worst _ account individual, where he was asking me like, oh, just say what you fucking mean, bro. What do you think whiteness means? I was like, oh, it comes from fucking critical race theory. It's Marxist analysis as applied to white versus non-white. He's like, well, yeah, it predates critical race theory. Actually, he knows the whole fucking history of it. Of course, he's a fucking leftist. But then he's saying it's obviously it's true of anybody who talks about whiteness as a system of power. They're obviously Marxists, right? Anybody who talks about whiteness as a system of power, Marxists. And then I just send this screenshot in of Corey Massimino, the social media manager for C4SS, where he's saying that this kind of discourse is wholly consistent with standard individualist anarchist systems. Whiteness isn't some collective monolith, but emergent structures of legibility, hierarchy, power, and violence. I posted it because it's applicable to Renee Good's murder. So the Marxist label, which she was attacking me for, I was calling Corey a Marxist. That's applicable to anybody who talks about whiteness as a system of power. And one of the things that Corey calls whiteness is a system of power, or sorry, a structure of power. I guess that's completely different there. Like, so these people, you have to understand, they're not honest. Part of the program with the Marxist is to lie to you about what they believe. That's part of the program. They truly believe to their deepest core, pardon me, that they can't actually convince you of what they believe in. They truly believe that because they think that different people have different logic. So they couldn't ever convince you of what they believe in. So they have to lie. And guess what? That's where the revolution comes from. They have to do revolution because guess what? They can't convince you. How else can they get their dictatorship of the proletariat? They have to do a revolution. They have to do a violent revolution. And, that used to be the distinction between the communists and the socialists. The socialists used to just want to, have some sort of peaceful transition into the New World Order. Whereas the communists want a violent revolution. But now the socialists also want a violent revolution. So it's not very clear what the distinction is anymore. But that was once... That's the logical chain. That's where you have to go down. If you accept this I won't even say logic, if you accept this philosophy, there is no way to convince you. So they just have to lie to you. If they are honest, well, what does being honest mean? It means adhering to Aristotle's logic. They oppose Aristotle's logic. So they can't be honest on principle. This is what you have to understand with communists. They will never be honest to you with what they believe in. They will never do that. So just don't expect them to be honest. And when you internalize that, you'll start to see a lot more of why they make the moves they make. It's very sneaky, and when you catch it, you just see how dire the problem is.
Sorry,
I'm pretty much there. Yeah.
I was gonna jump in, and then I'm currently in a Twitter battle with Dave Smith again, as we
Oh,
speak.
hell yeah.
So I was like typing a reply to him as Zulu finished talking. So Zach, did you want to jump in again, and then I want to get through some more of the hands, because people have been waiting for quite a while. But Zach, if you had anything else, please go ahead.
Before Zark jumps in, I will say that Mon did a super chat for 200 rupees, so thank you very much. Saying, please tell the homies that my Twitter is not allowing me to come back. So I'll be there in the super chats. I'll stay with y'all in spirit. Thank you very much.
I think I might have. I'm not sure if this is my fault or not, but he was having some issues, and then so I think I might have kicked him. And I don't know if it lets people back. Like if you kick someone from the space, I don't know if it lets people back in or not. So that might be partially my fault. Anyway, it sounds like Zulu's going to get some more money out of it anyway by having Man pay for super chats. So profit maximization. Anyway, Zach, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you said that you weren't gonna let Decentral see or Justice back on, and he's got his hand raised, so he clearly wants to go. I will give it an attempt. Like you can DM me and try to explain what all of the abolish whiteness stuff means, and I will be charitable with it. But that wasn't my first attempt. I've heard that sort of language for a while now, and I just never understand what they mean. And I try not to attribute malice to people, that they're just lying and things like that, or Roderick Long doesn't seem like a communist. I don't want to call him one. I like a lot of his work, but it's certainly, he does say, if you do look at it through that lens, things start falling into place. And I don't like having to say that, so I wish it wasn't true. And if you can make me see that, I'll give you a chance. But I do think there is something to what Zulu's saying there, where it's just really the only way I can interpret this is just that you're purposefully being trying to act like some sort of sneaky genius with your words, where you're purposely saying things that no one's understanding, and you're just kind of feeling superior there, because I mean, they're not going around harming white people. So I don't think it's that. But then any other thing, when they start going into power categories, whiteness, and hierarchies, it's just, what do you mean, and why is whiteness the correct way to, label that, if you will? But I mean, that's all I had. Sorry to waste so much time on stupid lefty, inter-libertarian drama. But I mean, that was just something I had a rant about, because the fact that Charles was getting back to me and was like, "Yep, you're getting it," and then as soon as I asked, okay, what does that look like in practice? It was radio silence. And He gets a lot of tweets. Maybe he just missed that one. Totally possible. But it's so consistent every time we talk to them. But that's all. We can move on to other hands.
Yeah, I will say before we let Justice or like Decentral C, I don't know what name he like, what his preferred pronouns
We're gonna go to
are.
some other hands first.
Yeah, go
before we
to
come back to this.
mainly like
Yeah.
Acorn. Acorn's been there for a fucking. It's getting late for us.
Yeah, we'll get through the rest of these hands, and then we can, if we've still got time and people still want to stick around, we can talk about this again. But so we might, we'll go to Acorn first, and then we'll hit up Steve, and then the Tarasone and Toten will come through after. So Acorn, please go ahead.
Hi, Mahop. Thanks for having me on. And Dulu, thanks for noticing. I think I've had my hand up as soon as I arrived. But let me check my notes. It's been so long. So the first thing I wanted to ask was, I don't know much about the C4SS law. I'm not sure if it's been mentioned earlier, but can you just give a quick recap of like were they ever good libertarians? How relevant are they?
Oh, so very much not particularly relevant. But I mean, they've just been churning out like this kind of like market anarchist, agorist stuff for a long time. Like the more recent drama is they did this tweet where it said that revolution against whiteness or whatever is loyalty to humanity. So that pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, I don't really care about culture war stuff as much anymore, but I do agree with Zulu that like if you're gonna post it, you're gonna get responded to. So yeah, they can't complain. I remember Zulu saying earlier that like he gets really suspicious about people who are scared of the word capitalism, and I think he like elaborates more on that earlier. Like specifically the people who are like, oh no, I never call myself a capitalist. Like solely words like agorist. So I don't think I've fully fallen into that camp, but personally, I don't really like the word capitalism either. And it's sort of Tick history, who's the reason why. Tick also doesn't call himself an anarcho-capitalist. I think in one of his videos, he said that capitalism is a word invented by Karl Marx, who's a communist. Like it wasn't originally
it wasn't invented by Karl
market.
Marx. That isn't historically true, but that's another topic.
Okay, so I'm cool with calling myself an anarchist because I know that Proudhon was like the original person who called himself an anarchist, and despite some differences, like we are still very very similar to Proudhon. He was like a proto-anarchist, but I'm wondering like your reason for why we should keep using the word capitalism. Especially a lot of people these days don't understand that capitalism means free market. Many people just think that capitalism is just about the status quo.
Yeah, so I will say on Tick, like you can tell he's not of the sort which I'm talking about, like the lefty types who just like they just have an icky feeling towards capitalism in the way we mean it. Like you can tell they don't like capitalism in the positive sense, and that's why they don't like it. Whereas Tick, it seems like more he's just an autistic history guy. Like, go ahead, Tick. Like, he can fucking call himself whatever the fuck he wants. You can tell what he's about. Like, he's very clear about it. He's not trying to be, like, subversive in any way. And I will also say, Man did give 40 rupees to say he loves you, Acorn. So, shout out to Man. Shout out to Acorn.
Thank you very much, man.
So
I will just clarify, because of the new anti-Semitism laws in Australia, that while we don't mind Proudhon, we really don't like the anti-Semitism. Just worth clarifying.
I didn't really know much about the anti-Semitism actually.
You should look up Proudhon on Jews. He has some very very choice words for them, which I
mean he used fucking like 17th century or some shit. Like everybody back then had some interesting. Like I will say, like on what you want to call yourself. I mean, I just call myself an objectivist or an anarcho-capitalist in most cases. Like
I really like calling myself an anarchist, especially to normies, because especially like it allows me to tell normies apart from someone who's actually well versed in philosophy and politics. If they just think, oh, you're just like a guy who believes in chaos and all that stuff, that just ignore me. And if they actually know sort of what I'm talking about, then I know that it's like a politically literate person.
Yeah, if I were to like talk to a normie, I would normally say that I'm an anarcho-capitalist because I want to specify. Because a lot of the time, people will assume you mean like some sort of communist, and I really do not. I want to distance myself from that at all, as much as possible, and that's why I like anarcho-capitalist. Like I think it does get to the core of what I specialize in, and you're definitely not a communist. If you say you're an anarcho-capitalist, people are like, yeah, he's definitely not a fucking communist. What the hell is he? Let's listen to this guy a little bit. But also, I do have to go to the toilet, but I do have two super chats to read before that. By the way, Acorn, do you have anything else to add on to this after I come back?
I do have a few things. Although I guess Monhop can probably answer them instead.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Monhop, you go ahead and answer them. I'll just get through these two super chats real quick. Nuclear Mayhem 9238, big supporter of the channel. Thank you very much for another 20 crooners. Everyone has an AMCAP sense. You have a feel for it. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And then Mon Sharma for another 100 rupees. Thank you very much. Do you have news about when Tick will come back? We all miss him so much. I do not, unfortunately. But we're not bestest of friends, unfortunately. I know as much as anybody else does. Hopefully he'll come back. I very much want Tick to come back. I think he's very good at it. I've been a fan of Tick before I even did YouTube. I was very much appreciative when he responded to my videos. That was like a big now I've made it moment, and then Ecod 5637 for €2. Thank you very much. I'm interested. May I join your Discord? If you send me send somebody who's associated with me, or send me a Discord message, or like a Ko-fi message or something. Send me a message somewhere showing that you've made this payment to me, and then I'll send you the link to it. Because I don't just let anybody in. But you've given me money here, so if you can, somehow get in touch with me, email me, fucking email me, and then I'll give you the link. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. Another thing I just had on my list that I wanted to talk about was Zulu earlier was talking about how sneaky these people are. And whenever Zulu says like the word sneaky, it just reminds me of I remember like earlier there was a guy who accused Zulu of sneakily sneaking in objectivism. Like, oh, the Zulu guy, he's trying to like get you with objectivism sneakily. I don't know, like remembering that just makes me laugh a lot. I also remember like there was like a discussion on Jordan Peterson, and I think I was like a Jordan Peterson supporter in like the 2022, basically when I just started looking into politics and stuff. Okay, I can't remember what I wanted to say originally. Right, that's it. So when I eventually became an objectivist, after I became an anarcho-capitalist, I remember that like Ayn Rand was mentioned a few times by different people I've previously watched. And I remember that Jordan Peterson was one of those people. So I remember just looking, searching up something like Jordan Peterson, objectivism. And there was like an interview that he did with I can't remember the name. There was like a gay conservative guy with a podcast. Sorry, I can't remember his name.
Dave Rubin?
Dave Rubin.
Dave Rubin.
That's the name. Like Jordan Peterson talked about like Ayn Rand and how he like supported a lot of Ayn Rand stuff, and supported like how Ayn Rand talked about individualism and stuff. But like he's read like Atlas Shrugged many times, and like throughout the whole interview, he just never mentions objectivist like epistemology or metaphysics. which I feel like are just the most important things. And like a lot of the summaries I see on the internet of like what objectivism and Ayn Rand is about, they're all like way up there in the politics. And sometimes they talk about how, objectivism is just selfishness and all that stuff. I never see any YouTuber like talking about, this is objectivism. Like they believe in the primacy of existence over consciousness. And like the theory of concepts, about how you get concepts through measurement omission and like conceptual common denominator and all of that stuff. And like I learned most of that stuff from Zulu's Brain, his Brain wiki page, the stuff about objectivism. And like the whole time I was reading, I was just like, wait, I've never seen any of this stuff talked about anywhere else. And I don't have that much free time, like reading, because like I study mathematics at university, and I also game a lot. So most of like what I learned about objectivism is through Zulu's materials. Like recently, I started like getting into an objectivist book. I've been reading through Opar by Peikoff. I'm just like, yep, Zulu's not been lying to me. Like right here in the page, the primacy, like 3 axioms followed by primacy of existence over consciousness. Yep, all that stuff. It's all in like the objectivist book, right? Opar, and like I can't believe that like no one ever talks about it. What are your thoughts on that?
I do want to like jump in on that. I didn't necessarily hear the start of that, but you know, this is a very big problem I saw with the objectivist YouTube space, where they don't actually go into what objectivism actually means. They don't go into the core of it. They don't go. They never talk about the metaphysics. They never talk about the epistemology. They never talk about anything apart from Israel good. Like I have a big problem with that. Like, sure, if one objectivist there are the libertarian podcasts who talk about foreign policy, and that's their specialty. It's like, okay, you want to talk about foreign policy, like Scott Horton. He loves talking about foreign policy. That's his thing. It's like, okay, Scott Horton, he talks about foreign policy. That's his thing. But the objectivists, it seems like every single fucking objectivist podcast, apart from HBTV with Harry Binswanger, is basically just, now let's talk about Israel again. And how great Israel is for the 500th week in the row. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, nobody cares about this. Why are you talking about this? This is not objectivism. Do you know what objectivism is? Objectivism is Ayn Rand's beautiful theory of aesthetics. It's her incredible theory of selfishness. It's her metaphysics. You know what the most important thing about objectivism is? It's the primacy of existence. That is the most important thing about objectivism. Barely worth a mention in 99% of objectivist YouTube. And you know what? I'm out competing them all now. Guess why? Because I don't dumb it down. I don't dumb it down. I just talk about it. You know what my fucking AI art video was? It was a stealthy way of introducing the objectivist theory of aesthetics into the mainstream discussion on AI art. Where is the objectivist podcast mention of that? Nowhere. It isn't mentioned. It's never mentioned. I think that's a big issue. And that's why I'm just going to destroy these institutions. These institutions, they all look me over. Believe you me, I applied to fucking all of them. And I'm gonna compete them all now.
I wanted to pick up on that real quick because I think the whole institutional funding thing is like pretty crucial to this, because the fact of the matter is that these podcasts and these platforms, they aren't price sensitive as far as like what their consumers actually want. Okay, they get their funding from the top down, from donors and institutional funding and whatever else, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that per se. It's not against the law or anything, but it just makes you less attuned to what your audience actually wants, because you can just keep pumping out podcasts that 50 people are going to watch. But hey, some random mega donor will pay you enough money to keep you going. So it's similar to, and not exactly the same because it doesn't involve theft, but it's similar to why state-run businesses or state-run industries, nationalized industries, are going to be less attuned to what consumers actually want because they get the money one way or another, right? And so it's obviously not quite that extreme because the money is coming from private, sources, but there's still a similarity there as far as like these institutions, these people are just giving people money to say what they want them to say. And so they're not actually, the podcasters aren't actually attuned to what the audience wants or what's needed as much as someone like you, Zulu, or, other streamers who are just like, hey, like I need to make content that appeals to the audience and that spreads an important message. Otherwise, no one's going to listen to it. Whereas these guys are like, don't care if no one listens to it because they get paid one way or another. I do want to get to Akon. I'll give you one last chance to jump in, and then I do want to get to a couple more of the hands. So, please jump back in.
Okay, I guess I'll skip the other less important points. I just want to continue with what Zulu said earlier about how he's going to outcompete all the other objectivist podcasts. And I'd like to point out that before I watched Zulu's channel, like there was I've seen objectivism being mentioned in passing by a few other YouTubers and in a couple of different places. And I have tried looking into it before, but like I never found anything interesting. And one thing that I remember really clearly was the objectivism like Wikipedia page. Here's what it says. Objectivism is a philosophical system named and developed by Russian-American writer and philosopher Ayn Rand. She described it as the concept of man as a heroic being, with his own happiness as the moral purpose of his life, with productive achievement as his noblest activity, and reason as his only absolute. Like, I just feel like that's a bunch of fluff, it's not really saying anything at all. And like when I actually listen to Zulu talk about objectivism, it's like the three axioms, the primacy of existence, how do you actually form concepts, measurement, omission, all of that stuff. And I just feel like that's a lot more that's a lot more convincing than just all the stuff about heroes and whatnot. And I think Zulu said earlier about how the other podcasts dumb down objectivism. I'm not sure if I would call that dumbing down because I don't think objectivism, it can be very complex, but like the basics of it is just very, very easy to understand, right? Like the three axioms and the primacy of existence. It's all really, really easy to understand. So I think it's more like obfuscation that they just talk about a lot of fluff instead of the basics and the most important and fundamental stuff.
Yeah, because I think, a lot of these, quotes you'll get, it's like a press release, almost. Because they'll get it from an Ayn Rand interview, where she's being interviewed by some, like, talk show host, or whatever, and they're like, hey, can you encapsulize objectivism for me? And she's like, do you have an hour? Like, and they're like, no, just give me the basics. And she's trying to, like, run it down. But that's not what it means to define it. And you know what? We're not in that age anymore. We're not in the age where Ayn Rand had to, suffice with 40 minutes of speaking on an air. Right? We're not in that age anymore. We're in the age where you can speak and you can structure your argument in any way you want, because you can make a YouTube video. Guess what, guys? You can make a YouTube video now. You can make a podcast now. You can structure your argument however you want. And you know how you should do that? You should go just straight down into the basics. Just don't dumb it down. Don't make it simple. What have we learned from educational YouTube? It's that you don't dumb it down. Don't dumb it down, or else you're just making dummies. Dummy? Right? That's what you do. 3 Blue 1 Brown. Does he dumb his shit down? No, he just goes straight into it. He just goes straight into it. Now Red, does he just go, I know all this chemistry bullshit, and you guys don't need to know anything about that. But look at me, take this glove, and I put it through this magic box, and then out the other side comes grape juice. How did that happen? He's not doing like a magic show. He shows you the chemistry. He explains the chemistry. Should we be doing a magic show with our philosophy? I don't think so. I don't think our philosophy is apt to be done as a magic show. Why are we doing a magic show with our philosophy? Where it's, oh, we take Ayn Rand as an input, and then somehow Israel is great comes out of it. Like, no, that's not the magic show. Stop doing that magic show. Just give us the philosophy. Let the viewer understand the philosophy. Explain the philosophy with everybody, and you can make it entertaining, guys. Like, I'm speaking to the Objectives podcast now. You can make it entertaining. There is constantly new developments in philosophy. There is constantly new things to talk about, which do dig down into the metaphysics. Guess what my AI art video, which, by the way, Tim Deuces, who's in the chat now, he's saying that my AI art video was a big springboard for him making a Metroid video. Tim Deuce is another YouTuber. You should go check him out. This is AI art. That was a big thing in the popular discussion at the time. How many objectivist podcasts talk about that? Zero. Zero of them. You know what I did when I took that topic? I turned it into a fantastic vessel to provide the objectivist theory of aesthetics. How many of them would have thought to do that? Zero of them. How many of those institutions would have thought to fund that? Zero of them. I can tell you for a fact, zero of them would think to fund such a thing. So it's just, they need to be, this is why competition is so great. Because now this new generation of objectivists are coming in. Do you know why they're coming in? They're coming in because of me. Okay? Uh-oh. Okay. I think that ended. But they're coming in because of me. They're not coming in because of anybody else. Right? This might sound kind of fool of myself. But I don't see anybody else out here talking about this stuff. I don't see anybody else out here kind of bringing people forth. These young objectivists, they're coming in because of me. And I know this for a fact. Because people have told me who have been to these conferences. They have said, yeah, people, the young objectivists, they know about you. That's just how it is. Okay? I'm going out and compete all these people. And I'm glad for it. Because, for a long time, I was trying to chase that institutional pill. I was trying to chase that. But ultimately, I think I'm better on my own. I think I am. I always prefer to be on my own. I just don't have the money for it. But now I'm starting to get the money for it. Thankfully. Thanks to you guys. And this kind of institutional burden. You can see it. There's no soul there, in a manner of speaking. But anyway, let's go through some of these super chats. So it was Mancharma or Handley Candle for 200 rupees. There will be an OPAR-based series on my channel, Rational Frontier, soon. Stay tuned. Also, Inductica, Binswanger, Charles Q are objectivists with good takes on Peterson, the OG Peterson, also. Well, thank you very much for the money. But yeah, I think you mean Charles Q, T-E-W. He's got some bad takes as well, but I'm sure his Peterson take's fine. And there's a Punished Gaff for 30 euros. Thank you very much. That's very nice. Don't have anything insightful or interesting to say. Wouldn't mind lurking on Discord sometime, though. Cheers. Well, yeah, sure. Send me a message. Oh my god, why is this chat scrolled out of the way? And then Dennycat 98.95 for $5 Australian. Thank you very much. I haven't had much to do since I've been too sick to work for a while. Your videos and streams have helped me pass the time. Zalzulu, well, thank you very much. And then Mancharma again for 200 rupees. Thank you very much. Zulu is right. We need more deep philosophy content on objectivism on YouTube. Zulu Inductica Tick, if he comes back, are gems. And I'll do my best on my channel too. Remnant is a gem too. Love you, Monhop. Indeed, yeah. Like, that's the main thing. Just, where is the innovation with the theory? And it's just stagnant. It's stagnant for a reason. It's because objectivism. There's a big cult element around Rand, where you can't innovate beyond Rand. It's very destructive. And Ariel Suarez, 5471, thank you very much for $10. Your AI video also made me much more interested in studying ML/AI, machine learning / artificial intelligence. Denoising is indeed a fascinating topic, indeed, yeah. Anarcho-hopping, start up another space. Yeah, if you start up another one, then I'll join. Do I need to start up one? Let's see. You chat Harold for $20. That's a lot of money. Thank you very much. It's pretty crazy how wide Ayn Rand's novels spread, but how shallow the philosophy penetrated culturally. I've talked to a lot of smart and well-read people who have no idea her non-fiction existed. Yeah, and that's exactly the problem of the way that the kind of objectivist institutions have approached their strategy. They have not dug deep, and that is a horror to be done upon Ayn Rand's work, because her work is so beautiful. The fact that they have let it kind of fall to the wayside is disgusting. And then Mon Sharma for 100 rupees. We'll build our institutions, my man, with better buildings and all that. Indeed, yeah, thank you very much. Anako Tomo for $2. The only real solution is love. Love? Love. Monarcho Hopian for $3 Australian. New space? Yes, new space. Do you need me to do that? Let's see here. Monarcho Hopian is saying yes, he can do that. I think. Yes, there we go. Start listening. Oh no, turn off that fucking, like, music. You got like a fucking music playing or something. Oh, fucking elevator, bro. Well, in any case, whilst we wait for that to start up, I suppose, carry on with the super chats. Mon Sharma for another 40 rupees. Thank you very much. I agree, Charles has equal parts coal and gems, lol. I do not know what that is a reference to.
Alright.
Have you
I don't know what the fuck happened there. I was literally just sitting there, staring at my phone while whoever was talking. And then, the space just... thing. But looks like we're back, and it seems like most of the people that were waiting to speak first time are back. So sorry about that little delay. I did want to get the space up and running because there were a lot of people who waited for quite a while. Zulu, have I got you back?
Yes. I do have one more super chat to get through.
Cool. All right, go ahead.
Hey, you know what? I will just say you should try lagging out more often, because I got a lot of money whilst you were lagged out, because people had to talk to me somehow. Yeah, no, Heavy News 7761 for $5. Thank you very much. That's a good amount of money. Objectivism course when? I need something to pay for. I'll probably do a core. Actually, I'm going to do a book on trying to integrate objectivism fully with my legal theory and like build it up step by step by step by step. And you know, that'll be my next endeavor. I don't know when I will, because I mean, objectivism is so fucking deep. Like, I mean, goddamn. I've been learning objectivism for quite a while, longer than I learned for the course on libertarian legal theory. It's way deeper. It goes down there. I'm currently reading what's his name? Harry Binswanger's book on epistemology, How We Know. I want to integrate it all. This is the thing with my courses, because I want to have everything integrated into a really tight package where it's really easy to get. It takes a lot of time to build them. And like, you know, people ask me like, oh, this thing says it's under construction. How long will that take? I don't know. That's why I just say under construction. I don't know how long that'll take. Because I first need to know it. It's like an expert degree. And even then, like my legal course, I do have things I want to amend in there. So like even after I become an expert in the thing, there are still more things to add. Like, so it's difficult to know when I will be able to get to the level of knowledge where I'll be able to go, yep, publish. Like that's a big task. So
It's
appreciate
like that,
you all for sticking around.
It's like that GTA 5 building that was under construction when they like built the map, and it's been under construction for 13 years because, you know, they never updated the map. So it's kind of like that. But no, I'm really looking forward to when that comes out, because yeah, everyone kind of like just started thinking, oh well, you know, he just left it saying under construction, but he's not really still constructing it. But they don't realize that how much there is to what's being undertaken here. Like as you said, you know, the book on the section on libertarian ethics, or the course on libertarian ethics, was comparatively brief by comparison, and yet there's still a lot of no, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's still a few key areas that, as you said, you need to fix up at this point, and that you wouldn't endorse anymore. So it goes to show, even with a relatively brief by comparison, you know, course, there can still be issues that crop up that need to be fixed down the line. So
I want to say two super chats just came in. One by Josefu. Is that the guy we've been talking to in the space?
don't know. I don't know.
In any case, Josefu's here, $5. Thank you very much. That's very much appreciated. The Book of Zulu said so. Well, I wouldn't characterize it that way, but I do say so. And then Lazy Faye for $50. That's a lot of money. Thank you very much. There's a problem that most people are introduced to objectivism starting at selfishness and capitalism and conclude that Bioshock would be the result. Your channel is how I learned that there was anything beyond that. Can I lurk the Discord? Absolutely, Lazy Faye. Get in touch with me somehow. You know, and I'll get you that Discord invite. But yeah, no, that completely correct. That the objectivist institutions have completely shit the bed as it comes to client outreach, as it were.
I will say one more thing, and then we'll get to the hands. But I think I've figured out the culprit for why my space was why the previous space was nuked, and it was because I kicked Man and he couldn't rejoin, so he got his Indian agents to come through and nuke my space, so that I started up a new one that he could join again. That seems to be the most logical explanation.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get to Man soon, but I want to go to Steve because he's been waiting for quite some time, and then we'll get to the other three hands that are waiting. But Steve, please go ahead, brother.
All right. First off, sorry about the 1 year question. It's an inside joke. More importantly, though, I just want to know how you would address any accusations of deontology, because I think that the NAP, like implicit within the NAP, is a duty not to violate the NAP, right? I've been trying to think of like a logical answer on my own, like how to respond to that. I think my response in progress, which I don't think is quite sufficient, I don't think is very good, quite frankly. But so far, as just said, like all the NAP does is tells you what is or isn't a crime, and that duty is something different. How? I don't know. Just wanted to ask how you'd respond to accusations of deontology.
I could go for that, but if you want, you can. But
yeah.
I have a good answer there.
Yeah, I'll just jump on into that first, and then if Mon has anything to add, then he can. I'll say deontology. Generally, I understand that to mean Immanuel Kant's ethics, and we definitely do not follow Immanuel Kant's ethics. I mean, at least some Kantians do follow the NAP, so they're within the libertarian bubble, as I was explaining earlier. Like, if you follow the NAP, then you're libertarian. I'm a thin libertarian. But for me, I'm an anarcho-objectivist. I do not accept Immanuel Kant's ethics at all. I don't accept anything about Immanuel Kant. So how I respond to deontology as an accusation against me, well, I don't think I am a deontologist. I'm saying that these are the rules that you have to follow if you want to live a good life. If you want to live the moral life, if you want to live the just life, you just have to do these things. Like, it's just not proper for you. Like, for instance, like, I accept the objectivist ethics. That's a done deal, right? Easy does it. That's not deontological. It's not duty based. So for the law, now that seems very duty based, right? Because there are certain duties, which the law imposes upon you, like thou shalt not do this. But that doesn't mean it's a duty based ethic, right? Just because it has some duties doesn't mean it's duty based. Because what is the basis of that duty? Is the duty itself the base? Or does it have some basis? I think my duties do have some basis. Namely, the basis is your own flourishing. For instance, like, any objectivist will accept the law of non-contradiction. Right? That has a certain epistemic norm involved. You should never make an argument which is contradictory. That's a duty. That is a duty. Every rule is a duty. And there are certain rules in ethics. That doesn't mean that you're basing it on just grun norms. That this is just the base. It's just, this is what you should do because it's what you should do. That isn't what I'm saying. This is what you should do because otherwise you're a beast. You're not living as a man. But, if Man wants to hop in on this, he definitely can.
All right. So, yeah. I started eating something, so sorry for that. So, what I would like to say is that good stuff.
Okay.
So, so what I would like to say is that in Philosophy Who Needs It, the book, not the lecture, Rand goes into it in a very beautiful article called Causality versus Duty, right? In which Kant's deontological approach, the duty that the ethics that Kant develops, it is, it is do these things for the sake of, for no reason, right? Like just do these things, right? Like, and if you do these things with no reward in mind, any kind of reward, it doesn't matter if that's a material reward or a spiritual reward. Any kind of reward makes you suspect. So that's the essence of the deontological duty-based ethics, right? That you have to do these things. You must not answer you must not ask questions about why. And if you take pleasure or even emotional pride or some material reward, any seeking of a reward or even praise or even self-praise for doing your duty, puts you outside the realm of morality and makes you amoral or immoral, right? That's duty versus what happens for a rational man, right? For a rational man, the logic follows that if I want to live this way, then I must do these things which reality commands, right? The rational man, he decides what he wants based upon his nature, and then reality tells him the rules of that, of achieving that, right? And so, for example, if I want to get a good grade, then I must study for my test, right? Like those are the rules. Now, that's not a duty for me to study for my test. I don't have to do it, right? All I have to do is that I have, like, all you really have to do is die at some point, right? Like that's the thing set in stone. But if you want to live a good life, then it is your responsibility to uphold the NAP. It is your responsibility to study for your test if you want a good grade. If it is your responsibility, your rational responsibility to be rational, and like to follow the law of non-contradiction. Like you could not. It's fully possible. It's within your choice to not do it, but then you will not attain the achievements in life which you deserve if you did it, right? Like you'll not live your best possible life, right? Just for the example, if you don't follow the NAP, then you're gonna become dependent upon people. It'll hurt your independence to be a parasite. You're gonna become irrational. You're gonna become dishonest. All of these things follow, right? You're gonna and of course, like other people would want to retaliate against you because they don't see you as trustworthy. They see you as a destructor of life and property, right? And so on and so forth. So like there are a multitude of selfish reasons why you have a responsibility to follow the NAP, and it's not a duty, right? It's a rational responsibility. Whereas the Kantian sense of duty is just do it, don't ask questions, and if you want any reward, don't worry about it. You're a bad person. So that's the difference between, let's say, the causality based approach that the objectivist ethics have, which is a teleological approach, versus the deontological duty based approach.
Yeah, and just one final point on that, and then we'll keep things rolling. Because I've heard this accusation that the non-aggression principle, even as myself and Zulu and Man and the rest of us would ground it, is rationalist, right? And it seems to be what they're saying is that it's decontextualized, it's stripped of any context, and it's just like a floating kind of abstraction that you're just supposed to adhere to because it's your duty that we've just axiomatically come to. And like, I mean, that's just very clearly not correct in the formulation that Zulu and myself would defend, because it's very clear that the context is, the fact of the possibility of conflict, right? So the NAP arises from the possibility of conflict. That's the context within which the NAP is relevant, right? If you strip away the possibility of conflict, then like, sure, the deductive proof of the NAP would still, it would still be a deductively valid, argument, but it wouldn't be relevant in any way, shape, or form. So it wouldn't be, you wouldn't have any, you don't have a, like, when I'm asleep and it's not possible for me to initiate conflicts, then it doesn't really make sense to say I have any obligation to follow the NAP because it's not relevant in that specific context. Now, it is fair to say, of course, that the context within which the NAP applies is incredibly broad, right? Because pretty much as soon as you wake up, I mean, take me for example, I'm a renter, so I'm currently living in a place that I don't own. So literally the second I wake up, the NAP applies, because if I was to do anything with any part of the house that the owner of the house doesn't want me to do, then I would be initiating a conflict and aggressing, right? So for me specifically, the context within which the NAP applies is incredibly broad, but that doesn't mean that there is no context to which it applies. Unless Zulu wants to jump in at all. Yeah, go ahead, Zulu.
Yeah, no, there is a super chat I've got to read from Heterodox Agnostic 8070, who was in the call earlier, for 1,000 Corona. Thank you very much. That's I assume a lot of money. That's very good. Thank you very much. He wants me to read his Discord message. Here's some of my welfare money that I'm redirecting back to the ones deserving it. I and Tim Deuces are fans of Eric Rogers, who's an objectivist who covers romance. He has some disagreements about how to define objectivism. I'd like you in his Discord. Now, I want you to clarify if you want me to send this Discord link into the chat. I can if you want. But I have clicked on that Discord link.
I'm unsure if he wants everyone to join. I'd like you to join at least.
Yeah, I've clicked on the application. I just did everything, whatever. Agree to all, whatever.
Also, you know, if Casimir was here right now, he will be very pleased by, welfare money finally finding its place with, taxpayers and everything. So this is a treat for Casimir.
Nice.
I will just say, next time I donate to Zulu, I might try and do it in Vietnamese dong, because if I donate 18,000 dong, he'll be super pleased, only to find out that it's only $1.
You need to do Zimbabwe dollars.
Zimbabwean dollars. I'll donate $14 trillion, and it's like
oh my god,
50
I can
pence or
retire.
something.
Fuck you guys. Fuck you. Fuck all of you.
Zulu made it. Zulu's a multi-trillionaire now.
Suddenly, I turn my personality and I hate all the chat. Only to me. That's the plot of every 90s movie. I suddenly turn and I hate everybody, and it's revealed I only get $5.
Yeah. All right. So I want to go to Tarasone, I think it is, and then Toten, and then we'll keep rolling. So Tarasone, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you seem to be mostly okay, mic-wise. Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, can you still hear me now?
Do you have a better location for your Wi-Fi?
Geography gods have stricken him.
Slightly,
is this better?
But still a bit. You're still breaking up a little bit.
Okay. I hope this is at least good enough for you to hear me at least a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. What I wanted to ask Zulu was about. I wanted to get a more clear stance on what he thought about joint ownership, because I know, like, I've watched a few of your streams and stuff, Zulu, and I just never really got like I understood a little bit of your argumentation. I think I read a little bit of like the GitHub page, but I still never really grasped like how you come to your conclusion about joint ownership, of how like because like from what I remember you saying, it was like either everyone owns it or nobody owns it, or one person owns it or something like that. So yeah.
Okay, so for group ownership, so I think you're specifically referring to my argument about public property, where it's either one person owns it, nobody owns it, or everybody owns it, or like a group of people own it, rather. And my argument against the group of people owning it is I don't think a group of people can own anything. So why do I think this? Let's just imagine a group of people A through Z each commonly own a stick. Okay, let's imagine what would happen if a conflict occurred between A and B. Well, if A wanted to use a stick to spearfish and B didn't want this to happen, one of two things could happen. Either our legal system says that the spearfishing should happen, or it says that the spearfishing shouldn't happen. If the spearfishing should happen, then B doesn't own that stick, therefore the group doesn't own the stick. Or, if the spearfishing shouldn't happen, then B does own that stick, and A doesn't own that stick. Therefore, it's false that the group owns the stick. So either assumption we make means that the group does not own that stick. So group property simply is a contradiction. And this is easy to see if you imagine that everybody on planet Earth commonly owned everything, well, then we would be in the exact same position we'd be in without any ownership at all whenever there's any conflict, right? We'd be back in the first position. Wherever you have group property, you have a section of no ownership, and the exact same problems which apply, which gave us rise to property in the first place, apply. So that's why I don't believe in group ownership. And, you know, a lot of people try to argue against my stance on group ownership, and they just end up going down these paths, which I just think are really retarded. Like, I think vast majority of people who try to argue against my stance just don't even understand what the fuck I'm saying, because they just keep giving me the same arguments, which I've refuted 1 billion times already, and I get very tired of it. And that's, you know, the reason why I don't do those debates anymore, because unless you're going to bring something new to the table, I'm just not going to debate it.
Oh yeah, that's completely fair. You know, I only asked just because I'm trying to get, you know, a more clear idea about it, because I feel like that's a lot of the flaw of whenever anybody else was trying to talk about it, is like it didn't seem like they were trying to understand where you were coming from. I guess what I was a little bit confused about is like I don't see why, like, for instance, in the spear fishing example, like, why can't they take turns using the stick, right? Like, you could have a contract or whatever to where this guy uses it on Monday, this guy uses it on Tuesday, this guy uses it on you know, Wednesday,
Sure.
like that.
So let's go into what a contract is. A contract is a transfer of the title to property. So what that means is this is a piece of property which is transferring between Crusoe and Friday, or A and B, on alternating days, right? So that, first of all, that's not group ownership. But second of all, if we're trying to kind of emulate the system where everybody owns this stick, well, what if it's on a day where Crusoe owns it, and he's deciding that he wants to burn the stick into the ground? Well, he owns it, so he's allowed to fucking do that. And then the stick no longer exists. And that's what you get from a contract-based system. So it's not really group ownership, right? Because nobody else can say, no, don't burn that stick to the ground. This doesn't approximate what we want it to approximate. This is not group ownership at all. It's just ownership changing hands constantly.
Okay, so would you maybe call that hybrid ownership? Like, what would you call that?
I would just call it singular ownership, which is constantly changing hands. I don't think there's a need for like a specific term for this type of contract, because this would be extraordinarily rare in the real world. Perhaps you could get it from like a constantly changing hands guardianship from one parent to the other, but like, you know, there'll be other considerations there. Like, this is going to be a very rare thing. I don't think we need to come up with a word for this.
Am I audible here?
Yeah, I guess that kind of that makes a lot more sense of what you're saying. I'm glad I can better understand your position, and also I do really appreciate all the work you're doing. You know, initially when I started following you, like, I understood like the goals that you're trying to do, like, you know, like how you're like very rigorous with like your GitHub page, and I just have a huge respect for all that kind of work, and I'm glad that you guys hosting the space as well. I'm glad to be on. So,
yeah, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll thanks for that, Tarasone. I want to go to Toten and then Eli, and then we'll keep things rolling. So, Toten, please go ahead, man.
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, for sure. I'm actually going to talk about like what we were just talking about, because I was writing stuff down. So like basically what eventually clicked for me is that law and the concept of ownership are specifically for when people don't agree on things. And so like when two people like in a marriage or something are agreeing on what to do with the house, ownership isn't really relevant as a concept. And so like group ownership isn't actually happening.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's where the problem with having group ownership comes in, because what happens when two people within this group, or this alleged group ownership arrangement, disagree about stuff. Like, you have no way to resolve that conflict. Yeah. Did you have anything else?
Also, so I don't know if anybody has like heard of him or watched him, but he's mentioned Zulu a few times. But that he's an agorist on YouTube. His name is Schizoid Man, and he did like an anarcho-objectivist manifesto video, and it was really good. But he's kind of like drifted off into like process philosophy, talking about like Heraclitus and stuff. Apparently, he debated somebody who kind of convinced him on that, and I don't know if you guys like know about that or have an opinion on it.
Well, I have a lot of opinions on Schizoid, but they're not worthy of airing.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Can I speak on the group ownership property thing before we move on from that?
Yeah, of course, man. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. One example which we can give is that, it's the
Can you please
moral
get
practical unity,
like
right?
to a better mic position?
It's still bad. God damn it.
The geography gods must be obeyed. The platonic ideal of a working microphone must be respected.
Yep. Give me 1 second. It literally just wants me to sit on that one chair.
Yeah, just hold it a little bit further. Just a little bit too loud at the moment.
Okay. Am I there?
That seems to be better.
It's okay. It literally wants me to sit in the same chair in the same uncomfortable ass position. Man, I goddamn it. Okay, so all right. So first of all, I would like to say on Schizoid, there's too much to be said, which shouldn't be said in public. So leave some things unsaid.
Damn.
There's history. There's history. So there's complicated history there. So but yeah.
I will say the guy jacks off to the thought of me. He said that in the Discord call.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Coming to the topic at hand, I would say on group property, that I see two places where we can see the flaws of group property in real life. One would be whenever an organization is trying to close down and divide up its assets, and one would be most divorce proceedings. So this is where co-ownership usually is, and this is where it causes the most problems, right? Like you could see it in divorce proceedings in which everybody owns half of everything. So what's half of a car? What's half of a house? So basically what ends up happening is some people get some things and some people get some things fully. So even the current legal system, like they don't literally split the house in half and split the car in half, and one person gets the trunk and one person gets the engine. Like that doesn't happen, right? It's like entities are they're wholes. They're not they're not functionally divisible. Like sure, you could cut a car in half, but then it's no longer a car, right? And
maybe that's what the people who believe in group ownership deserve to happen to them.
Yeah, it's like just cut your car in half, and like your wife takes half of it and you take half of it, right? So
do the same with the kids. So half of one kid, half of the other kid, and then we each take half.
Yeah, so you could see the practical problems with the flawed concept of ownership. So that's why basically it's the same thing, right? Like you want to act within your own self-interest, so be as logical as possible. Which ensures, keeping your property relations logical and sound, so that in case of dispute, if you're fortunate to never encounter disputes, well then, good for you. But in case of dispute, you're going to have problems if you have such a thing as group property, because there's no way to resolve that dispute, right? There's no objective way to resolve it. And so that's the crux of the thing. I think divorce proceedings really, explicate this problem, because that's where, common, common property is most observed, and most, it's very available to people in their consciousness, right? That most people know people who have been divorced. So it can get really messy, usually over the division of assets and the custody of children. And it's literally because of the, this common ownership premise, because that it gets so messy. Like if everything was predefined, that who owned who, like who owned what, that was predefined, then there would be no mess in the first place.
Yeah, no, I understand the argument. I was just kind of like trying to speak to Zulu and speak to the people curious, just like what parts of it actually like made it click for me personally. Like I think that was the most useful like point that was made.
Yep, and I would say this argument for like the messiness of divorce proceedings or company company sell-offs. This will be like very illuminating to people, because well, we can clearly see the issues here, right? And what can solve those issues? Well, have a better legal theory then,
Yeah.
Right. And not to get too men's rights activisty here or anything, but like this is kind of pointing at why like my advice to anyone who's ever getting married would be to have a prenup. Because the way someone put it to me once was, look man, like when you get married to someone, you are entering a contract one way or another. The only question is, okay, are you going to set the terms of the contract via a are you and your wife or your husband or whoever you're getting married to going to set the terms of the contract via mutual agreement, or are you going to let the state set the terms of the contract? That's the choice that you're making. There is no option of just not having a contract.
And
So do one or the other.
There is an
and
interesting
my request
thing
would be to do that.
where Leonard Peikoff, he is against prenups. He's been in like many marriages throughout his life, and he's always against prenup. He's divorced many times, because he's against prenup, because he's like, well, then you're not both feet in. You're not really invest in marriage. But it's like, you're right, Monhop. What does not having a prenup mean? It doesn't mean that you're really invested in this marriage, you're believing it's going to go forever. It means you're not being careful, right? Because fundamentally, two people, even if they love each other at some point, they might grow out of love. And what does marriage mean? Well, it'd be great if it just meant that you just became besties of friends, and the romantic equivalent of that, right? That would be great. That's what I think marriage means. But the actual institution of marriage, where you sign a marriage contract, well, that is a contract, right? That is a contract, and you can get fucked over from having that contract. And you should try and avoid getting fucked over with that contract. You just keep your assets to yourself.
I definitely like. No, I definitely like the way he put it, of like, you let the state set the terms. That's pretty brutal and convincing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what you're doing. The contract exists either way. It's up, and it's whether, are you going to set the terms? And then, well, first of all, if the divorce does happen, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to sort out if you already have a prenup. As soon as you don't have one, all of a sudden, how exactly the division of assets is going to go gets very complicated, and then it gets very expensive because you both hire lawyers, and it gets way too complicated. The other thing I would say, so on your point, what you brought up with Peikoff, Zulu, was like, look, every time I get behind the wheel of my car, I am very, very invested in not having a car crash. Okay, very invested. That doesn't mean that I don't have insurance on my car or wear a seatbelt in case of the worst case scenario happening. So yeah, I think, and to be honest, this is a lot of the argument that a lot of I don't mean to generalize here, but a lot of women will make when it comes to marriage. It's like, oh, you've already got one foot out the door if you're signing a prenup. You know, you should be fully invested. It's like, well, no, I'm just looking out for both of us by ensuring that before we enter this life-changing contract with one another, that we both exactly know the terms and we're going to be comfortable with whatever eventuates from that. The hope is that we never have to use it. That's the goal when you enter a marriage, but things happen. So, you know,
I mean,
set the
so
terms
what I
yourself
was
rather than letting someone else do it.
so what I was saying is like one thing that's like kind of I never thought about it this way is that like the state is setting the terms and it kind of does give the females a prenup without even I mean if they have a kid at least like there's a lot of unfair kind of stuff going on towards that and so it's like you already have your foot out the door under that logic like the state favors you already and so letting
Right.
them set the terms is kind of the same thing.
To be clear, like I want to make this clear. If I'm not against the idea of if you are in a what we might call a traditional marriage where and this is getting rarer and rarer and rarer, but where the man goes out and is the breadwinner and makes money and the woman stays home and looks after the children. Okay. If that is the setup that you have, like this traditional nuclear family structure, would have no issue whatsoever with the prenup entailing that if we divorce, the man has to continue to provide for the kids and the wife disproportionately as far as financial support. Because the reality is that if you didn't do that, then this woman has, given up her career to raise children, and then you've just kind of fucked her over by divorce if you decide to divorce her. So to be clear, like I'm not advocating for prenups on the basis of, well, if you're a man, you should try and avoid paying child support or, trying to help your spouse or ex-spouse in any way, shape or form. I'm just saying from the perspective of someone who's obviously very anti-state and also who wants people to get the best outcome for themselves and to minimize costs and to go into things with eyes wide open. Set the terms for yourself. Sit down with your partner and be like, hey, like, if this was to go a way we both hope it doesn't, what would be fair and amicable as far as, what kind of support would you want? And we can find a way to come to an agreement on that. And then that way the state isn't the one setting the terms.
Yeah, for sure. I think more of what I meant was like often guardianship is pretty rough for men trying to like be able to spend time with their kids through a divorce and all that. Like there definitely already is kind of leaning towards um men not really having as many like rights and ways out of those kind of things. So like I definitely see where that's coming from and I never looked at it that way.
I will just say on that, like I get where you're coming from. I think the problem if you're a men's rights activist libertarian is ultimately the NAP and the legal theory entails that the woman does have guardianship rights over and if we're going to be if we're going to hold to individual ownership and not group property, ultimately the woman is the one that homesteads guardianship over their baby. And so, in theory, the real unless you get to some kind of contractual agreement in place, the reality is the woman can just, legally speaking, can just run off with
if
the
the woman
child.
is neglectful. To be clear, like if the
That's
woman
what
is
I was kind of
neglectful,
talking about.
then you can have some sort of homesteading of the guardianship because she's abandoned it, and then the father would be the next in line. But I will say, but just before we go into anything else, face value OG did give $10 US. Unfortunately, I didn't catch it as soon as I should have because I was scrolled up in chat, so the chat wasn't loading the next message. So apologies for that, face value. It's been a while since I've given anyone a super. I find your content valuable, man. Well, thank you very much. I find your $10 valuable. So there's a good exchange of value here, you see. So thank you very much.
Yeah, last point I'll make on this, and then we can keep things rolling. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, the implication is assuming there's no neglect involved. Ultimately, the woman does have, total guardianship rights over her child, unless she, gives them up. But that obviously logically entails that a man isn't obligated to give child support, right? And so that's where the hope would be that, in amicable and functional and non-toxic relationships, even if the marriage breaks down, there's quote unquote exchange of value, right? Where the man says, "Hey, I will, in really autistic, non-romantic terms, hey, I will give up some of my resources in exchange for being able to have a relationship with a child," and that's roughly what the contract in purely like very autistic terms is like kind of entailing. It's like, hey, I want access to this child. I'm willing to give up resources in exchange for that. That's kind of how it looks in pure legal theory terms.
For sure. No, I appreciate that.
Sweet, man. All right, cool. Well, as I continue to try and let or man up and down the stage as he continues to disconnect and reconnect, I want to go to Eli again because he has been, he's spoken before, but he has been waiting for some time and obviously been part of the space. So, Eli, please jump in and go ahead, man.
Yeah, actually, since Zimbabwean currency was mentioned, I had an interesting thing that I wanted to ask Zulu. Sorry. The interesting
No,
thing was that
you're right. Go ahead.
what's his name is Sargon did a video on Rhodesia turning into Zimbabwe and what were the like political and philosophical changes that happened within the country. And I know Zulu did one on Iceland. So I was wondering, would that be something interesting to kind of do a deep dive about how Rhodesia turned in from an economically prosperous state and then turned into basically the hellhole that it is now?
If I do my video on how poverty is a choice, I'll probably mention Rhodesia. I'll say Rhodesians never die, of course. The thing is, I need to really figure out how to frame the video in a way where I won't get A, banned off YouTube, and B, arrested by the United Kingdom government. Which
it's that bad.
It's a difficult balance to make. It is. Because I have a lot of opinions about how Africa came to be poor, which don't necessarily align with certain narratives about how Africa became to be poor. And I'll leave it at that. But I will say Rhodesia was wealthier than Zimbabwe. Apartheid South Africa was wealthier than current South Africa. I think these things are facts. So that's about all I will say.
No problem, appreciate it. I want to get you in trouble.
I just you can make a video about it when you move to the USA, perhaps.
I have no fucking clue when that will be, though. That could be a very long time away.
Yeah, ice and shit.
Yeah, if I try to live in the USA right now, oh boy, I'll need probably 6 figures saved.
Yeah, right. It's not cheap to move to the United States, that's for sure. Although, if all these like Hoppians I see on Twitter actually followed the Hoppian prescription, all you'd need to do is get one of your US friends to say, "Hey, I will vouch for this person not being a net taxpayer," and then he can come in.
And then I will have a love-based marriage with them. I will love them. I would love if they did that, and I will grow in love with them, and I'll have a love-based marriage with them, and it would have the happy benefit of me moving to the USA, but it would have to be love-based.
That'll work well up until Clarence Thomas gets the gay marriage Supreme Court ruling overturned, and then you'll be deported.
Well, we didn't discuss the gender. I'm bisexual. So I am bisexual, and I will have a love-based marriage. I love people in the USA. I'm going to have a love-based marriage with somebody in the USA.
Indeed. Want to go to... Oh, Man, are you... Okay, yeah,
You are
you need to go back to
way
your
too
spot.
bad. Yeah, you got to go back to the spot.
You got to go
Just
back
one
to
more
your
thing.
spot. Oh, yeah, Eli, sorry, man. Go ahead if you want
No
to finish
problem.
up.
I know people have been waiting. Just one more thing. Have you watched Sargon of Akkad's video on Rhodesia?
I have not watched his video on Rhodesia, but I will say an interesting tidbit about Sargon of Akkad. He was actually my first step towards libertarianism. Because I was initially in the atheist sphere of YouTube. That was my first step into, like, you know, debate and politics type stuff. And then I saw this video by Sargon of Akkad where it was talking about how feminism is bad. And I just thought feminism meant equality. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I'm going to debunk this guy, you know, in my mind, because I was like a kid. I wasn't going to make a YouTube video about it or anything. But like I watched the video and I was like, you know what? He's fucking right. He's completely right. And, you know, that started my long trail down the road in towards libertarianism. So, you know, sure, Sargon of Akkad.
I've also kind of started like that. I was the second kind of part of that, since you mentioned it, was I've been trying to convince some, of course, my family members that, you know, your philosophy that you have like kind of cultivated a lot more and expanded upon more than anybody I've seen so far, like in terms of like YouTube and using like the visual narrative space. How do I get like people, especially like family members, to like slightly open their mind a little bit more to this idea? Because again, you mention it and then this blank face.
Well, goddamn, if I knew how to do that, then my family would already be accepting my philosophy. I don't know. I don't know how to do it on the person-to-person level. And that's the truth. I just do it on the mass level. I just do Isaiah's job. I just speak the message. And then the necessary people come. I don't know how to convince a particular person on how to become a follower of my philosophy. I don't know how to do that at all.
I would say on that, again, taking a very like autistic lens on it, the opportunity cost involved in trying to like convert one individual person and like going through all like figuring out, okay, what exactly do I need to say to this person in order to convince them? Like the opportunity cost on that is pretty high in comparison to putting out content that, you know, is going to reach the masses and then, you know, converting a subset of that masses of people. But like that doesn't mean it's not worth, you know, talking to people in your life about stuff and seeing what you can
Like, I mean,
get through to them about certain things.
I will say I tried very hard to get my brother to agree with libertarianism over Christmas. Didn't work out so well, but he is like he is like a Reaganite now, so you know. But that was independent because he just saw Reagan clips on YouTube Shorts, and so you know I think that's just how you reach people. Like I have pretty much resigned to the fact that I'm never going to convince my family of this stuff. Like it's never going to happen. There is no amount of debating I can do to get them to agree with me. No amount.
Yeah, I wanted to just say, like, I've done that many times to try to convince. Earlier, I was doing it like more aggressively. That didn't work. They don't want to like think if you do that usually. But recently, I've tried using the Socratic method, and I got my mother to like like reconsider ownership and government. I was talking about that, and she like thanked me because she made her think basically. So like normies think a bit differently. So like I think Socratic method is like the best way to do it, but it can be hard, of course.
Yeah, I would say that luckily I'm not dealing with like family members who are like on the complete other side of like communists or anything like that. So they're already like 90% there. They already believe in small government type of stuff. So it's not much of a leap, but just that extra one step just to go, that's I was just curious. I'm not trying to convince somebody who is already indoctrinated on the other side. That they have to come to their own conclusions. But somebody who's already kind of taking the steps towards that area, just nudge them more towards the path that I want them to go on.
Yeah, because ultimately, like, it's like the Ayn Rand quote, where I can't digest food for you, and I also can't, I don't know the exact quote or anything. I can't think for you either. I can't digest food for you, and I can't think for you. Like, it's gotta be on you at some point. Like, I can give the arguments, but I can't just make them click for you. That's on you at some point. But I will say, before we go into any more hands, Mon Sharma, _1, has given me 400 rupees to say that what he wanted to say was that yes, the woman has the first right to the child, but it can be traded in a prenup contract. And remember to have a prenup based on libertarian legal theory as much as possible, people. So there you go. Thank you very much for the money.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll go to. I was going to go to Justice, but he's dropped from speaker. So I'll go to Zark first, and then Justice if he comes back up. But Zark, please go ahead.
All right, I actually just have a quick question, and then I gotta go. But Zulu, you were earlier talking about just like Kantianism versus objectivism, and I remember back in December, Yiddicus had asked you if you wanted to do a debate about it, but you said that like for the rest of the year you were pretty much busy. Would you still like be interested in doing like a debate about Kantianism versus objectivism with him?
Yeah, sure. If he gets in touch with me or whatever, you can put in the good word. Yeah, I'll debate with him.
Right. Awesome. All right. Great space, guys. I gotta head out, but awesome.
Cool. Well, it seems like I'll kind of wind things down. This will give Justice a chance to come back up if he wants to jump in again. But it seems like we are kind of reaching a natural conclusion. I mean, we have been going for a bit over 3 hours now, so across the two spaces. So I guess that makes sense. But yeah, look, thanks to everyone for coming along once again. Glad that we were able to get things back up and running, and hopefully, barring any, hopefully no more illnesses or anything of the sort kind of get in the way, and we can start rolling these out, because obviously, if we miss one, it ends up being a full month before we get another one up. So hopefully we can get these out bi-weekly or fortnightly or whatever you want to call it, pretty consistently from now on, but we'll see what happens. Zulu, did you want to jump in at all and kind of wrap things up? Or
yeah, for sure. Thank you very much for everybody for coming along. If that guy who is C4SS's strongest soldier, if he wants to come along, you know what? Debate me. I don't know what to tell you. I tried talking to Charles G. Koch. I told him to debate me. And guess what he told me? He told me, no, fuck you. I'd never fucking debate you. He spat on me. So, fucking debate me if you want to fucking debate it. You know where to find me. Okay? But yeah, everybody's come along. Everybody's donated. Thank you very much. Mon Sharma just gave 100 rupees saying, good night, guys. I'm too sleepy now. We'll catch up on the rest of the stream. Thank you. Love you all. I love you too, man. I'll see you all on the next episode of The Remnant. And to any C4SS people, fucking debate me. Except for Charles G. Koch, he's not allowed to debate me. He's not allowed anymore. So fuck him. He's not allowed to debate me. You can let him know that he'll never be allowed to debate me. I will be making 1 million views a video, and he will still not be allowed to debate me. He would have been, but now he's not. So goodbye, guys.
Zal Zulu.
Zal Zulu.
Mile Monhop and Zalo.
Yeah, that's a true thing about Charles G. Koch. Let me just pull up this tweet. Yep, here we go. Yeah, so he's saying that I'm fucking misrepresenting him. I say, okay, well, debate me then. I might rather shoot myself in the face. I'm responding to you here because there are well-meaning people who might take you seriously. Okay, well then you don't get a debate. Never he gets a debate. I am never giving this person a debate. I'm saying it right here and now. He's not getting a debate with me in 1 million years. I will be 10 years down the line, 1 million views per video, and I will still refuse to debate him. Ever. It's never going to happen until he apologizes for this. Never going to happen. It's not happening. So, bye-bye, Charles G. Koch. Let's see if my fucking... Charles G. Koch. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Not getting a debate. Not getting it. Could have been big. Not getting it. Could have been big for you. Not getting it. It's not happening. But yeah. Yeah. See you later, guys. I'll see you on the next episode of The Remnant, or whatever else I do next.